children to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record albums have their own hidden symbols.
This is a special question. We don't want you to smoke genetically modified ganja. We want you to smoke the real thing. We want you to smoke the natural herb. Some call it marijuana, some call it sensimedia, some call it lamb's bread, and some people call it ganja.
Boom. Welcome to another edition of the Adam Dunn Show. I am your host, Adam Dunn, and I am joined in the studio with nobody today, but I have Joel, a.k.a. Ribs. Wheels of Steel. Can you turn up my headphones a tiny bit? A little bit on the headphones. I feel like I'm in a sock. We are having an extra special show. It's the Breeder Bonanza, brought to you by Seeds Here Now. Because as we all know, Seeds Here Now has all the best breeders in America right now. So why the hell not showcase him on our show, since he's our number one sponsor at this point. So that's why we're doing this show. We just came back from the weekend out at the Seattle Canacon, and so I missed the last Friday. And I promised I would do a 3-hour Wednesday and a 3-hour Friday to make up for letting you all down on the last minute. Also this Friday, Earth Dragonfly Medicine will be on here with the makeup show for last week, because they were supposed to be on last week's show. And that's going to be a really cool show with a whole lot of info and a whole lot of interesting growing techniques that these guys have established, and they're very sustainable, which is awesome. And they're trying to get this program implemented all over the place. And I'm going to leave that show just completely up to them, because they are gung-ho, ready for that show, ready to bring you that knowledge, the knowledge. And speaking of knowledge, let's see, we have coming in later this episode, we're going to have Mike from Exotic Seeds here, which has been crushing it. I think they have like 22 cups in the last, or 22 wins. I don't know if you want to call them cups, because, you know, they're not all cups. Some are belts and some are cups and some are titles or whatever, but they've just been crushing it. Just can't seem to stop winning. That's their big problems they have. Big problems. What's up, meeting room? No, they're done. And we also have Dave from Gold Coast is going to call in, and I'm not sure what he's got on his plate, but we're going to find out what he's been up to. And yeah, he's going to, I don't know, we'll get the completely two different type of guys, which is awesome. That's one thing that's going to be really cool about the show, is you're going to have completely opposite sides of this breeding world. And let's see what else we got going on. I think we're just gonna we'll do the shout outs out of the gate, get that kind of done, and then I believe we'll have a probably call in relatively soon after that, after I do my little meaningless chit chat, the typical Adam Dunn Show meaningless chit chat. Right out of the gate, I'll just do a Seeds Here Now shout out, just because we're talking about them, right? Because these guys are the ones bringing you this show, bringing you 35 and even more, I think, now, because every day it seems like they have a new breeder on board, but still vetted, of course. Right now, 35 are some of the best up there, and I have actually a humongous thing. You have to do like a whole shout out just for this one post, or this one text I get every time. Let's see what we got. Okay, so today at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time at seedsherenow.com, new strains from Golden Coast Genetix. This is Golden Coast, right? And restocking all Crockett Family Farms archive seeds. Was recently stocked, sorry. February specials. 10% off all Crockett Family Farms, Crockett's Confidential, and Crockett's Dog. 10% off all DJ Short Old World genetic strains. Absolute genetics drop, which is the Alien Invasion packs: Alien Orange Congolese, Alien Orange Gum, Alien Sour Apple, and Alien Tarantula are $78.88 a pack. Dark Horse Genetics Amadeus Cho, the Joe Fix-It, and Rick Jones are all $88.88 a pack. A lot of eights there. buy any 3 Absolute Genetics and get 1 free pack of Alien Invasion line. Buy 1 F-13 throwback at 10% off and get an Old World Genetics tester. Order $300 and over, and we'll get a free 3-pack of Lambo by TH Seeds. Whoa. Order $600 or over and get a free 3-pack of Lambo by TH Seeds. Oh. And a 10-pack of Absolute Genetics Group 2017 Spring Mix. And then sign up for our VIP test club and never get new gear. Never miss new gear. So never get new gear. Never miss new gear. Drop again. Text 420 VIP to 760-670-3130. That is 760-670-3130. You can cancel at any time. All deals are while supplies last. Distribution will choose another pack if we run out of the free packs listed above. See that? Whew, I'm tired. Damn, that tired me out, guys. I'm sorry. But there was a lot there. So hopefully you listened. If not, you can always go back and hear it again. But I heard a bunch of good deals there. Also, go to seedsherenow.com. Check out any other specials that they have going on. And see if your favorite breeders are there, because they're the man. And I'll hype them up at the end of the whole thing, because that's what we're going to go straight back into. It's the Seeds Here Now show. Jesus Christ. All right. Flip it. Incredibles. Edibles. The best edibles in Colorado, now in Colorado, Nevada, and California. I think sometime soon Barcelona, I heard some rumors, or who knows. You never know. These guys are all over the place. But their flavors are all over the place, but in a good way. They're consistently all over the place. That's important. Too many flavors to list. If the kid's not here, I can't even do it. I haven't tried the Orange 100. I need to do that. There's a few things I need to try from them, so I'm going to have to go over there soon and maybe talk about getting them on the show. We'll either get Derek or who knows, maybe we'll get Rick on here. Wow, that would be amazing. Get Rick, come in, bring all his bars. We'll get Derek on the side. Show us all the oils. I mean, the oils these guys have are always consistent too. That's the thing. They have the Black Label, which are the one in-house stuff. You never go wrong with that. And then, of course, the Gold Label would be whatever shop you're standing in at that given moment with some of their materials. So their pens, off the chain. The website is iloveincredibles.com. Go to that if you want to find out if there's a shop near you in Colorado. I'm pretty sure, unless you're really out in the boonies, you'll definitely find somewhere close. And also, you can check out, it's pretty covered up. Cover the map. And if you want to show any people that are coming into town what's the best edible in town, just don't even hesitate. Go straight to the Incredibles. You will guaranteed make them happy. Flavors will be on point. And, just help these guys out. I don't think they need it, but help them out anyway. iloveincredibles.com. Thought you never asked. How come my headphones never, ever sound like anything? Still don't hear anything still. Just like I'm talking.
Yeah, speak into the mic.
No, it doesn't connect to the mic. I'm saying I have no volume in the headphones. That I have volume. This. Anyway, Growstone. Had to open up my bottle. Yeah, but it doesn't come through mine. It's weird. So I'm saying my volume on my headphones is off. And hold on. Switch. Let's see. Yep, same thing. Pretty much. Growstone.com. Check out this incredible product from these guys. It's all recycled plastic bottles. Or sorry, plastic bottles. Glass bottles. That's why my clothes are plastic bottles. Real glass. 100% recycled plastic or glass bottles, which makes this a fully sustainable replacement for perlite, which a lot of people don't realize. But a lot of people think perlite is just going to last forever, but it's only so much of that shit in the world, and then at a certain point, you're going to end up not being able to get any more of that. And on top of that, it actually breaks down after a while, and you don't realize it's not working. And that's kind of like a bummer when you're at the end. You're like wondering why your stuff's all compacted, and you're like, oh, well, because the perlite's not got any action with it. This stuff can't get compacted. Different grades too. You got like You have from the finest grade, which is your gnat mix, which you put in the top 2 inches to control your gnats. Which I don't know if you're gonna try that or not. You should. Did you try that yet for your gnat issue?
Yeah.
Did it work for those plants?
I mean, it does slow them down, and it makes it easy. Like when you go to treat them, like you want to hit them with something, they're in the gnat nicks. So if your plants lollipop really well, I have a fungus gnat problem that I let get out of control. So just the gnat nicks alone is not going to stop them.
I don't know if I can hear you on this mic, but
Oh well.
yeah, why don't you put the mic over by you now? You don't need it over here. And no invisible people getting interviewed yet. And also the largest chunky stuff, that's really good for drainage. And there's really nothing else like it on the market for drainage like that. Especially when you pick up a bag, you're like, damn, that shit's light. It don't weigh nothing, which is great because, as we all know, that's one of the things that holds people back sometimes from growing on soil in general is they just don't want to. They like the idea of rock wool blocks that are all lightweight and stuff. Well, these things are actually incredibly light for the
Easy
size.
to recycle.
They're 100% recyclable. That's the cool
Well,
part.
they're easy to recycle in your grow. Like
Yeah.
if you dump them out of a plant, they float.
There you go.
Yeah.
Even better. And our buddies over at Build a Soil. I didn't even take a drink during that last part. Hold on, that's the most important part.
Let's go back to Growstone for a second while you drink.
I don't want to be disrespectful. It's
Adding to the cause.
like doing a cheers and not actually taking a drink. That's bad. Whew, bad juju. Build a Soil. Jeremy, he must be getting ants literally in his pants almost now because of all the getting ready for the season. Because people must think. I mean, it feels
I'm
like
sure he could find a way to add that into soil building.
yeah,
The ants.
yeah. The ants in the pants dance.
Just getting them out of the pants is the problem.
Well, the whole
without
thing
killing
is like we didn't even have a winter, so it already feels like spring. I know we're gonna have more cold here in Colorado, but for a lot of the country, it seems like they're done. Like that's it. It is now officially springtime. So it's definitely springtime in everybody's minds. And whenever that happens, it's pretty interesting when you see like everybody going like, "Yeah, I'm going home and mixing 12 yards of soil or whatever," and you just know like all your friends are doing the same thing around the same time, like maybe a couple days off here, a couple days off there, but pretty much we're all getting busy soon. And I think this year is going to be sooner than most because people are already seeing like 75-degree days here in Colorado, which is nuts. And,
yeah, I remember April 20th one year I was farming, walking outside to a bunch of frosted over tomato plants.
well, a couple of years ago, we had a fucking blizzard. And of course, that's the year that
It could be deceptive,
Well, that's the year that I decided to have the big 3-day party, 5-day, 4-day party or something like that. So for 4 days, it snowed, just pounded us until the last day. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, fuck. Every day I wake up like, no. And then, the year like this won't even try. It'll be 80 degrees out. You watch, guaranteed. But Build a Soil, the best thing about these guys is they have every amendment you may need. Hard to find stuff, things that people have even heard of, but also on top of that, you got the best customer service out there. These guys will put together literally a bag for you, a pallet of bags, a truckload of bags. They're kind of like, and that's the thing is obviously quantity prices are going to drop a little bit, and you're going to be able to tweak it out exactly to your specifications, and he may even help you tweak it out even further, which is kind of what Jeremy's all about. Sometimes people have issues. I've had people who have had issues because they just, like kind of jumped in too quick or stuff was a little bit running a little hot. And then, is there a lot of feedback or something? Sounds like computer feedback. Weird.
Something kicked on, Michael.
Yeah, exactly. Something. But yeah, they can. Is it that?
Fan on that or some shit.
Jesus.
It's the battery backup for the server.
Jesus.
We've already got it in the game.
Well, yeah, that's too loud. Too loud. Get it off the circuit. But anyway, these guys, Bokashi, any of these Grokashi products that you want to get.
There's entire Facebook groups dedicated to understanding.
The probiotic guys.
Yeah, the anaerobic.
Well, it's a probiotic association, right? Isn't it?
Yeah,
Exactly.
probiotic. Yeah.
Exactly. And you can contact them at buildasoil.com, or you can contact them directly at 855-877-SOIL, and he'll take care of you. And last but not least, our buddies over at New Millennium. No? You'll pull it up.
No, we're good. I just didn't have a chance to do this.
It's okay. That's fine. You'll find it. The guys that were on the show a couple of weeks ago, and hopefully everybody got their samples. I heard in the last week, sort of a few people got them. And I saw them actually when I was there the other day, and they were like packing up more and more of those things. So I believe, hopefully they're not the ones. Hopefully ours are already out, but it seemed like they were on it. They were way more on it than I would have been, because that shit's heavy. And I think everyone's just getting a full box, a full line, which is awesome, compared to like what we thought they were going to get, which was those 3 products. I think they just said, "Fuck it, send them the whole line." Boom. Definitely, if you get it, check it out. Again, those 3 products that we kind of focused on during the show, which was the Decision,
Ruby
Fulvic, and the Winter Frost. Definitely, like, kind of not focus on those, but keep an eye on those, since those are the ones we kind of focused on during that show. But yeah, if you can use the whole line, maybe just isolate a little area and just check it out and compare it to what we got. They are also available, kind of getting everywhere now. They're spreading out. I looked online, and I think they have they're covering a little bit on the East Coast, definitely on the West Coast. They got it all up and down. Colorado, obviously, is where they're out of, and it looks like Michigan and a few other states, and Florida. So, and I'm pretty sure if you're dealing with any of a decent kind of grow shop in your area, you just tell them, take a look at this product, get some for me, and add it to them shelf and help them out. That's what I like to do. I like to help out grow shops and get them hard to find stuff, if possible. And let's see, that's about it. We are.
That's it.
I think we covered it all, dude. I think we covered it. So yeah, we went out to Seattle, checked out the CannaCon this week, and it's like, it's tough in towns that are already been legal for a while, and everybody gets a little bit comfortable. And so I think the problem was the attendance wasn't huge. I mean, it wasn't that. There was definitely some disappointed guy, and that's my biggest pet peeve when I go to a show. I wanted to see happy vendors, because I figure if I walk up to my friend's booth and they're all happy, then it's a good show. And then I know that everything rolled properly. And I got to the guys from Black Dog LEDs out of Boulder, and I mean, they're literally at every single show, those guys, and they were shaking their head. They were just not happy. So I was like, really? And they were like, nah, this just wasn't good. But and I think it's partly to do with the location. Happens to be on federal land, because it's on a dock, you know what I mean? It's like literally on the water, and you have to drive through a gate to get there. And I've been there for 2 years in a row, and every time we go out to get high, which is what you do at shows, you pretty much spend half your time.
No, really?
Yeah, pretty much. Half your time you're at your booth, and then the other half of the time you're walking out to get high in a car or a parking lot or something. And so the problem with that place was the first 2 years, it was literally people coming up to you and saying, like, yeah, you could be arrested right now. This is federal land. And you're like, what? Well, why the fuck would they put it out here? You know what I mean? And they didn't seem to care. But I think this year they decided they were already going to move back to the convention center, which puts them more on the map and more central, of course. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough when you have a bad show. It's just like anything. It's like doing any events. You got to recover. You got to recover from those bad shows, because you get everyone, like, that's the last thing they remember. You know what I mean?
And it's twice as hard to get motivated for the next one.
But I did see people that were saying if they could go to back to the convention center, they'd definitely do it again. So if the guys from the show, Bob and Dave and whatever, are listening, then I think you'll be fine. You just got to really deliver hard next time, because you know, that's part of the whole thing of doing shows is you got to kind of go above and beyond, in my opinion, for the vendors, because it's like having anything. It's like if you don't take care of the band, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? You don't take care of the band, the show's gonna suck, right? It's like the band's all hungry. We didn't feed the band because we're too cheap, you know. So let's see. I'll get my fucking phone back on so I can see what's going on in the chat. You don't have your phone. KTI, I believe, is maintained. Why don't you kill that thing? Kill it.
It'll kill
Attack it. It will kill everything?
Yeah, we're plugged into it. But we're very well protected.
Okay, well, that's not good. Don't kill it. Just deal with it. Just deal with it. Oh, you can get on the chat. There you go. There you go. You got a computer. Even better. You can see it. That's my problem, is I can't see my shit. But otherwise, I got to see Joshy. I got to see a bunch of great guests from the show and friends, and smoke some fucking great weed. So that was good. Ghost was there again. That was interesting because got to hang out with Swamp Donkey. He was my roommate. There you go. We were bunking, but no, we had good times. Short, but good times. And so I got to meet him face to face, which was awesome because he was on the show only a few weeks ago. And I sort of said, "Yeah, come on down," and he did, which is great. And that was had him on a panel. The panel was really good. So, I mean, we make the best of all those events, and that's the funny thing is, like, doesn't matter, even if, and at the end, of course, our panel's always at the end, so, like, and, you know, we always go overtime, so while we're finishing, walls were coming down, like, people were taking down all the the fake wall crap, you know. I was like, Jesus, all right, I guess they want us out, you know, but, so thanks to everybody who came to the panel, if you did. Had James Whitting on the panel, who's not a breeder, but he was a really cool guy who does a lot of CBD stuff, and we'll get him on the show in the future. Yeah, that was good. Also, who else was around? Oh, we had Sonny Chiba, of course, Odie on the panel, and do we have anybody else? No, that was it. Swamp Donkey and those two, and Jerry. So it was but it was good, informative. I mean, we got to pack it in an hour, and as you guys know, if I do a 3-hour show, we barely touch the surface of a lot of stuff because there's always a lot more going on. I'm never prepared. That's the most important part, right? Let's see. We have 6, 9. What else? So what else has been up with you since you missed the? You were here. No, you missed the last show. You were gone. You went. Where were you playing? Cincinnati or something like that? How'd that go down?
That was pretty insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us.
It felt like 1996, 97, like an old school rave.
Because this is like in a warehouse, obviously, and stuff. Or
it looked like it was an old school or something, or like it was a big gymnasium. And it looks like they do some kind of indoor sporting, like indoor football or something crazy like that. But here's the thing that blew my mind. When I rolled up on the place, like I see the lights in the window, you know, like party rave lights going on, you know, letting us know and I look to the left, and the building immediately is Cincinnati Police Department. Of looking at the rave, looking at the police department, looking at the rave, it is just...
So it was an old police department building?
No, dude, it was like a big, functioning hornet's nest of police.
Oh, they were just there physically?
No, they're a police station.
Yeah.
We were partying next door to the police station.
So there was... Okay, so it was next door.
Yeah, the cop shop was right there. Yeah.
They didn't care?
No, I didn't see any police, or there were no fights. There were no medical emergencies. There were, nothing. It was my friend Tank Man's birthday. Tank Man's one half of Ultra Black was Sluggo.
Mm-hmm.
But and it was pretty cool. He had his dad get on stage with him and perform a song on the guitar, and had some vocalists going on, and it was a good time. And I played in the jungle room, of course.
Didn't you play at like 5 in the morning or something?
I played at like 5 in the morning. It
That's
was
when you
pretty
started.
bonkers.
So you started at 5 in the morning, next door to a police station,
Yeah.
doing playing jungle, and
Yeah.
sound system was booming. It was sounding good, or it sounded
Hey.
like a real
I mean,
rave,
it
like a
sounded okay,
medium.
but we were having as DJs problems with the monitor system, as you know, typical bullshit.
Yeah, you don't get to hear nothing.
Fuck no. What do we need to hear?
But everyone else got to hear it. Sounded pretty good as far as the actual. I mean, it was loud enough that you should have had the cops.
It was
walk next door.
it wasn't so loud that you couldn't hear off in the corner.
Oh yeah, so balloons were rampant there.
Yeah.
So you're like 100 feet away from a police station doing balloons all night.
Yeah.
Till 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
There you go. That's America. Well, that's good.
America.
It shows how hard those guys work.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Like, obviously, whoever ran it got the right permits and stuff.
there
Get it all
was,
figured
you
out.
know, good 600 heads there, it seemed. Something like that. So
That sounds cool. It's interesting to go to other cities and see how the scenes are there, because here it seems a little tame too. It's like kind of like don't really see too much. A little bit when I first got here, it was like a little more hardcore. There was still people kind of busting into spots and doing things, but they kind of like every single warehouse in Denver is now a grow. So you can't. There's no fucking spaces left.
hey, AAA was just talking about some spot that he ended up in that was like a 3-story private thing, like a speakeasy entrance kind of thing, like got to know somebody. And yeah, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but he says right here in the heart of Denver, some kind of like little private underground shindig going on.
There's a whole bunch actually. Well, what was interesting was we're talking to the kid that was over here the other day. He was saying like when there was that fire in Oakland, that the cops went to every single after-hour spot in Denver, and I was like, well, how many after-hour spots are there? And it was like rattled off like 8 or 9 places that are pretty much off the grid in the sense of, they don't really have any real liquor licenses or anything.
Right.
But they're all doing their thing, and the cops came through, and they didn't really care about anything except for fire code shit, because after that thing, they were wondering what's up with that, you know what I mean? They wanted to make
Got
sure
the chat room, by the way.
Yeah, I'm there too now, so that's good.
Okay.
I just have to put the phone so far away from me I can't see it. Then I can't see it. Like I can't see it, then I can see it. Oh, there you go. It's huge. But now the words are so small over there, it's still the same thing.
And look, I get
just
the
see
promo
myself.
for some things.
I
So
just see myself real big. I don't really want to see that. Oh, it's fine. I don't need that. I got this. You can respond. You're part of the chat too. You're actually part of the chat. Plus, once we get talking in a minute with Mike and with Dave, I won't. I barely have time to look over because it'd be such a riveting conversation. Riveting, I tell you. Let's see. I'm trying to think of who else we saw over there. Damn, that thing is loud. We're gonna have to put that on an extension cord at some point and other room it right out of the gate. How come
Is
we
it
didn't
too early to talk about the shindigs we're going to do here?
Yeah, because we don't even know of dates or nothing. I can't start. And they're all secret underground. We're literally in the underground right now. We're under the ground. So, and we're going to do parties here, and they will be as underground as we are, like 8 feet underground. Yeah. So. No, but it was good to see. Like Seattle is one of those places where it's tempting as far as I love the kind of like seems like it has a killer bar environment and kind of underground. But everywhere it does, when you go there, like you go there and you're in one little area and you're like, this is great, but you don't really know.
Right.
And the only thing that would hold me back would be the fact that the weather kind of is so close to Amsterdam, and I just lived in that for so fucking long that it was like, you know what I mean? Like
foggy,
just gray,
misty.
Yes.
Cascade Mountains.
Well, no mountains.
We're in Seattle, right?
Seattle would be a combination of Colorado, and it'd be like living in Amsterdam weather in Colorado. That'd be kind of fucked up. Because here, the reason I love this place, above and beyond everything, is there's 300 plus days of sun. So I feel like I'm just happier just being in a sunny place. You know what I mean? For real. Sure. And for obvious other reasons, it's just nice to know you can do stuff with some sun, you know what I mean, if you have to and if you want to. Whereas there I was like, whoa, this is like, that's why I think it has a more thriving subculture, you know, literally, than here for the most part. But also I know what's going on here too, so it's like, you know, not that I've ever go out anywhere because I'm too old and crusty, and I need super VIP like carry me around. And
But it happens.
it happens every so often, but I have to have like literally like we had the last time, like, here's your spot. We'll just keep bringing you drinks, and you just stand there.
It's pretty cool whenever the headlining artist is making sure that you and your party are taken care of by the bar.
Well, that's it, and that is the only way to go out because too old and
It's like baller status.
it's funny because I you know like before I'd be like, all right, move in, do it. Now it's like I look at the line and I'm like, fuck, you know, like, forget about it. Like, ugh, like I won't even drink. That's it. I'm done.
Well, hey man, just bring the party here.
And let's see, what time is it now? Because I think we have. Oh yeah, we got him calling in like 18 minutes or something like that. So, but I think he can call in earlier. Let's see. Let me check what he's doing.
You ready for a random question out of the chat room?
Yes.
Random question number 1 from Pablo Escaro. Pre-98 Buddha, 2-to-1 CBD, THC, or no?
Bubba. I mean, not Buddha, but Bubba, right?
Pre-98
Bubba.
Bubba.
Yeah. Definitely CBD.
Did I say Buddha?
Definitely CBD. I don't know about the 2-to-1. 2-to-1 to what? CBD. It's definitely, I don't think it's 2-to-1 CBD to THC, but it's definitely got a bunch of CBD in it for sure. So I know that. That's all I know. Because I've seen people touch it to a bunch of things, and then it's like, oh, it's got CBD, and you're like, what's it? I mean, it's also got a very thing about Bubba is it's got such a distinctive growth pattern. You definitely kind of like recognize it visually, and then you'll taste it a little bit, and if you make a concentrate out of it, so that's the whole thing is when you make concentrates is when you really like notice that CBD quality where you're like, huh, I have a feeling there might be some, you know, and then that's where it all. That's every time that I've kind of recently, huh, buddy. Yo. Is that our friend Mike?
Hi, this is Charlie, long-time listener.
Oh, hey, Charlie.
Caller.
Hey, good. Hey, Charlie, what's going down?
Hey, this is Mr. Dave Santos.
Oh, it is. I can hardly hear you. But hey, how's it going on, Dave? What is going on?
It's good.
Oh, there you are.
Is this better?
Yep.
Here I am.
Nice.
Way better. Now you're too loud. You gotta like tone it down.
Yeah.
Calm down,
Here,
buddy. Just calm
don't
down.
you guys don't touch nothing. I'll adjust it over here.
There you go. That's even better. That makes sense.
Right here. Check.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Just
The mic sounds
you
nice.
might peek out a few times here and there when you get all squealy.
Hey,
when you're
man,
squealing
I'm
like
peeking
a
right now.
when you're squealing like a girl.
Get excited. Yeah, get excited.
What's going on? What's going on there, Mr. Gold Coast Dave?
I don't know, just watching this, hanging out here watching the show, calling in. Maybe there's some questions or some stuff we could talk about.
Of course. Well, there's always questions. There's always questions. You know, you are the guy who's Mr. Question right there. You love it.
Oh, yeah.
You love.
I love it.
You love it. I know. You thrive. You're like some people like shy away from controversy and weirdness and whateverness like that, and you're just like in there, like something's weird. All right, so I got to the bottom of the whole Bodie story the other day. We can start with that. Let's just start with that. Let's get that out of the air.
That's good.
That's because that was something that you hit me up with, and I was like, okay, typical interweb swag, right? So I hit up Bodie. Bodie hit me back, and he just said the same thing. He's like, way to go, people, misinterpreting fucking stuff and reading into it and over, you know. So basically, he had posted a thing saying sort of what we were saying is that, you know, people like that. People consider it like pollen chucker or hacker.
People's expectations are high for some reason from people.
Exactly. And but anyway, it was in context to the fact that he posted something. People then thought it was in reference to me, saying that
That's why I brought it up to you, because I didn't think it would be.
saying that he was not a breeder, but it was basically him that was saying it on the show. If you go back to the show and you listen, you're like, it's him kind of almost saying it, and and us almost saying the opposite. Like, no, well, at least you are adding a lot to this genetic gene pool, which is really what breeding at this point is, because for most part, and we discussed this, and I think everybody out there who's seen any larger scale grows understands it's not much, very few people are focusing on trying to do a IBL or inbred line. Most people are focusing on parenting up new F1s, kind of puppy milling it. You know what I mean? You could call it that. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, the other thing is, you probably know, what good is a stabilized line? That's probably great for a commercial person.
Yeah.
Because they're not after that uniqueness. And what I see most people want is something unique, so they have something to peacock about. And you're not going to get that out of a stabilized line.
Yeah,
so
and that's
22 situation. If you want to be the guy to peacock and say, look I got something you guys don't have,
right.
You can't be complaining about a guy that's not doing F8s or F10s.
Yeah, well, the thing is, that's yeah, it's almost like be careful about what you wish for, because most people don't realize that they're not growing in like cornfields, yet. If you were,
exactly,
and
they don't want
and
the
that's
whole
thing.
room, even height, the same, everything exactly the same.
Yeah, and I mean, technically, there is people obviously who do, and that's I think where feminized comes into play, because it's like, okay, there I can see if you're literally trying to fill up like an indoor or even a greenhouse situation from seed, and you limit it on plant count for some reason, and or there is like parameters that make sense for certain things, but not other times. Not if you have all the time in the world, and or depends on your ability to lay how many seeds you can lay down. Or
I just think, I guess if everybody could really marinate on what their end goal is, that will help them fine-tune the genetics that they like and will grow good based on what they're doing. And, like there's a tool for every nut and bolt. If you got the right tool, then you're going to do some good work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if you're growing just to keep up with the Joneses, then you might be chasing your tail, and that might be not doing the best thing for you. But there's a lot of battle right now I see going on with the soil versus the hydro.
Oh, there always is. That has never stopped.
It doesn't.
That's
the
like
best weed is the weed you grow you like. It doesn't matter what it's grown in. If you like it, that's the best weed.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
It's the best weed. If you're happy with what you're doing, that's the best weed. And there's always room to learn, but it's like 31 flavors. What ice cream is the best? There isn't, because everybody has their own taste and flavors.
I mean, the only thing,
and that's how it goes for the breeders as well.
The only thing that it would kind of come into play with that would be if you were looking at like, okay, so what is the best for passing all the tests when they start to look for, pesticide / other uses? Because, for instance, the organic guy gets away with not having to use any pesticides because he's got a real good, program, and the other guy who's on a full salt program is like just blanketing them ahead of the game, hoping for the best, and it's still, but comes up high. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
In those situations,
I
you can
agree
say
with that totally. But
the best.
There's so many ingredients to the cookie. If we kind of look at what's going on, is people in cementy urban environments don't have the option to do these outdoor grows, so they're going to be indoor, and they're most likely going to be hydro guys.
Right.
And within that group of people, there's going to be guys that are pumping it full of crap because that's their market. It's a commercial, crappy market.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be the boutique craft guys that go to personal type people to get rid of it, and that's going to be really well done indoor.
Right.
Versus outdoor, these guys are in the trees. Not everybody has a bunker or warehouse to do their indoor. So they're dealt with the cards you dealt with, you do what you can do. And in that environment, you try to fine-tune based on where that end product is going to go. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and what I've noticed, too, is that especially like things like cocoa and stuff, guys can really nail it, you know what I mean? Because that's all they do. They've been doing cocoa for 6 or 8 years or 10 years or whatever, and they're just crushing it, And the thing is, but the problem is, in my opinion, with those situations is you're really fucking like connected to certain foods because it's the only ones that really work. Because cocoa, there's always that buffer problem if you're not. You can't just kind of jump around. You know what I mean? You can't be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna use
cocoa
that.
is a tricky one. I prefer not cocoa. If I was indoor, I like Rockwool.
Yeah,
It's clean. It's easy to flush. You see what's going on with your plants right away. You see the results immediately.
If you're doing,
I'm not saying in a way that's
if
the
you're doing
best,
any numbers, if you're doing any numbers, yeah, I could see that being just
Yes,
for
definitely.
But if you're doing,
Sure,
any, but
yeah.
if it's just a matter of like, you know, not wanting to, just wanting to be like super clean and stuff, is actually, in my opinion, Rockwool a lot of times is dirtier just because of the fucking so much algae and so much fucking bullshit that you don't get when you're on soil.
Well, and that's the thing. Is it a personal grow? Then I would go soil.
Yeah,
I would be calling like the Jeremy guy and say, send me some goods.
I think anything above.
But
I think anything
it's
above
the,
10
it's
lights
the end product. You know what I
10
mean?
lights.
Where is that going?
10 as a personal.
Is that going
grow.
in your container under the table, or is that going somewhere?
Right.
And that kind of, I think, determines everything.
Sure. Yeah, because otherwise you're not going to spend that much money on your inputs if it's going to be just like.
Yeah, time and space is everything, right? You don't want some crappy genetics that wastes your time and your space. Because the bottom dollar comes down to time and space.
Okay, so speaking of time and space, what's your favorite, like what's your sweet spot? Like, you like to finish your things a little longer and go for those more sort of like...
Well, image, picture-wise, overright's always the best. For face value, image, cover girl, prettiness, yeah, the overright plants are always the best. Mm-hmm. But I see it kind of like a fruit, kind of like an apple. The earlier the apple, a little more tart. Mm-hmm. Mid-range, it becomes like a blend, and later on, the apple gets sweeter. And I seem to notice that with cannabis.
But also sometimes it gets mealy and fucking swag, and you're like, ugh.
Well, that's
same with
true,
bud. Same with bud gets blown out. Like, that's
what genetics are you growing? What are the profiles that you're after? And then the more experience you have with genetics, you can home in on those traits and then play with them on different flowering times, or decrease the hours to get them finished quicker, or play with them to get them to go longer. There's a lot of weird things you can do at that point.
Yeah, well, the thing is too, you notice how I was talking about this with my other friend about how there's like those double peaks, and some stuff is a triple peak, you know what I mean, and like some stuff it's like if you catch it on the beginning of the first peak, it's like kind of a waste because you're really missing out on a whole slew of terps. But if you let it go past this second peak, you're fucked. Like it's too much, you know what I mean, and it's gone.
Yeah, some, like I noticed some of these chem type families, they'll start a little spicy and fool you in the beginning, but in the end they really start kicking out the spice leaves and they go real sour.
Yeah.
So some of the terpene profiles do drift as they ripen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like when you.
But again, it's
take it out of the oven. When you take it out of the oven, it's still cooking, basically.
Yeah, I think maybe this is the indicas. I think you get more of an instant result, so to say, or you can read them better than hybrids and sativas, where there's so many little phases going as they're going. Mm-hmm. Their flowering times are so long. There's a lot more stuff going on in those plants than some of the indicas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and sometimes you like you never realize that because I've been letting some things just ripen out just because I kind of got backed up, and I got this one clone somebody gave me, which was a cross between my hog and what they called. It was a biodiesel or something like that won a cup out here in Colorado, and then
the 303 seeds guy stuff, I think.
Yeah, and but for some reason it takes forever now. Like I don't know, it's like it could be a 13-weeker or something. And I mean, it's just like I don't know. Whatever.
Was it quicker before and now it takes longer?
Well, at least the hog side of it was definitely quicker. You know what I mean? That was so. It was kind of like wow. Whatever that is in their side of it is seriously long. There's some ancestry in there that's really long because the ones that there's nothing could be done in less than, or it's on, right now it's on 70 days, and they're still white as fuck, you know what I mean? You're like,
Yeah. That's like the Big Island Haze thing. Kind of like an Energizer Bunny. They just never stop it.
Mhm.
Seems like at some point they just keep going.
Well, you got to then tweak those ones. They're like a 1311 cycle, you know, to a, and like
Yeah,
kind of
that's if you're indoor and you can play with those indoors.
right. Yeah,
outside,
no,
you just gotta okay, I'm sick of it. It's coming down.
And it was the last thing that was in the hoop house last year in the light dep, even though because it was light dep, and then at the end this was the last run of the season, so it was like at the end it would just let it go. You know what I mean? It wasn't like didn't need to really light dep it then, but it still was the last one out. So yeah, might have to scratch that plant out of our program just because it is not finishing at the right time. So speaking of scratch and shit and programs and all that kind of talk, what have you got happening lately? What have you been? Did you take anything out of your program, or you lost anything recently? Or what's going on? What's going on in Dave's world?
I kind of breed looking for the holy grail of what I like. And if people like the stuff I'm after, then I'm stoked. And that's kind of what I do, and I like the sour profiles. I don't prefer the berry sweet ones too much. So I tend to stay with sour, piney, limey, sagey, cedarwood, sandalwood type of profiles, and work between those, trying to make new flavors. Again, I'm kind of like Bodie. We're DJs, and we're just we're grabbing this and mixing with that because we think it's going to sound good to our ears, and I guess if people like it, awesome. And if you don't, that's okay, because no one's forcing you to buy these genetics or use these genetics.
Sure. And on top of that, my philosophy was that everybody who grows is a DJ, because you're already like taking the stab at it, you know what I mean? But people like yourself and Bodie and breeders out there that are putting out sort of work, they're more producers, and no one can really tell you how to produce music, because I mean there's guys out there who don't know how to read music, do anything with music, but are putting out music, and some of it good and some of it crap, people are buying it or people aren't. You know? I mean, it's kind of all very relevant. But
we love what we do, and what you love what you do, you're really passionate, and usually stuff comes out good when you love what you do.
Yeah.
If we're just doing it to make the trendies and make a bunch of money and be cool, I could be smashing cookies and all the rest of them like most guys do, and sell a whole bunch of seed packs.
Yeah, well, that would be the guys who didn't really, who just kind of take already produced riffs and kind of mix them and then create safe things,
Exactly.
safe beats.
Biting on my rhymes, stealing my style, biting on my rhymes like a crocodile. And we're nobody new, because the stuff we're working with was somebody else's hard work. You guys and all the guys over there, and before you, it was somebody else's hard work. And I know this from having my dad's seed collection.
I was going to say, you had a little excess. You had a little excess.
Does not grow like nothing of today's stuff.
Right.
Whatsoever.
Right.
And you can tell there's been a lot of work done, so we're all riding the coattails. It's just trying to use ethics and morals and integrity while you're catching a ride on the coattails is where I'm at.
Yeah, well, like you were just saying.
You bring something new to the plate. I'm not against any of these breeders, whatever. I mean, some of their ethics suck, whatever, and some maybe they just don't know, because in their circle they don't know they're doing wrong or what other guys think is wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean...
But if you can bring something new to the plate, that's great. But if you're just buying some guy's seed packs and another guy's seed packs and crossing them and selling seeds, that's not that good of a DJ.
Yeah, for sure. Well, they're just buying you're a top 40 DJ. Who cares, right?
Yeah, and it's not... none of this is a personal tactic against them as a person.
Actually, you're playing...
It's just against what's being put out as a product.
You're pretty much
if it was
playing...
any company, I would have the same opinion.
It's the same
guys
who can only...
They were making rims for a car. It'd be the same thing.
It's guys who can only work with, they have a tractor mixer, and they come to the party, and they're like, yeah, I can't use the techniques, and you're like, what? Come on, you don't have even Serato or something.
DJs.
just single button.
Harbor Freight, right?
You're a Harbor Freight
Screw
DJ.
Craftsman. I'm going to go buy the Harbor Freight one. It looks the same. It almost is the same. They stole everything from those guys. I'm just going to buy that one. Mm-hmm. And that's where we're at.
And then you get oil, and you get oil in your concentrates. That's what happens.
Dude, Tony Baloney, you're forgiven, okay?
What happened to Tony?
Tony spaced the show.
Yeah.
He's just now tuning in.
It's okay.
And he's
good. He's good.
Tony, you're good, okay?
You only missed a little ranting.
He wants to know who's on the phone, though. This is Charlie's rant.
No, this is Dave's rant.
Oh, this is Dave's rant. I'm sorry.
Sorry, you guys can kick me off at any time.
No, you should.
You're actual.
I think we should make a segment of this.
He's actually a guest. He's a real guest. He's not just a rando. He's not a rando guy. He's a real guy doing real things.
He's a tangible.
But as we started the conversation with the Bodie post, which I never actually saw because I never even got to it. I just like whatever. I believe you. But yeah, there was a few people out there that were blaming me for making Bodie cry, which I would never do that. You know that.
I knew. It's called social media, but I really think it's social dysfunctional media because people just try to nitpick to find something wrong with somebody.
Of course. Well, anyway, and the thing is, what was being discussed, which we went back to again, was that Bodie was, I don't know if he was putting it out there in a even like whining way, but I think some people took it that way, was that some people had assumed, kind of gave him that idea that he was a pollen chucker because he wasn't doing any work. But the reality is the work came. I told him the work was getting the fucking genetics in the first place because, he actually goes to the places and picks up the genetics and like that is that's way more work than like what we're talking about, which is running lines, which means just growing more plants and growing them out and looking for just individuals that stand out and going back and crossing them back and really the whole work there is like going through the numbers, and that's what most people don't even do, that part of the work. They just say they do, so we're not really, what I mean, but the real part is
isn't it fair that we're all humans and we all have emotions, and if we love what we're doing, it gets to me, it's hard to read some stuff that people post when they don't have any idea of what they're talking about, and eventually it weighs on you. And there's been a few times where I said some stupid stuff, and I probably should have kept my mouth shut. But we're human, And when you're passionate and you love what you do, it kind of bugs you sometimes when people say stupid stuff. And in no direction towards you. That was the thing, is I pointed it out because I know you had nothing negative to say towards Bodie on that show whatsoever. So I didn't understand where all this was pointing at your direction from this.
Yeah. Well, what I told you, which was that I pretty much. He's one of the few breeders out there, and I say, see how I said it? I said he's a breeder, Bodie. Now, he's one of the few breeders out there, though, that I actually feel like you can, like, hunt for a really good male from because of the fact that he's bringing in unique genetics, and you might find some throwback that's just like, whoa, what's that? You know what I mean? And then that's kind of where all the innovation and all the uniqueness comes from. So, I took a male from one of his, and I've been running it with everything, that I had last year in my hoop house, and then now Joel's in like got some plants vegging out, and I've seen some other ones, and from his side of the genetics, like it was funny because the male that I used was like really strong, like the stem was so strong on the thing, it was like so strong, and like everything that came off of it didn't matter if it was a plant that was a little bit floppy to begin with, like I have a banner and stuff that's super floppy normally, and this thing's like strong as hell. Like, well, that improved.
I had already defoliated the kosher Kim cross.
Uh-huh.
Dude, the fan leaf was bigger than my head. It was
but massive vigor coming off of it, and like and that's kind of like where I was like, okay, well, I was actually planning on doing some work, and like talked to Bodie about it yesterday, and he was like, he's 100% down. So that's why, people should.
That's the other thing too. There's something that not a lot of guys don't have. It's called experience. And that helps a lot with your selection. Mm-hmm. And if you had a guy making F1s, I would sure hope it's a dude that's been around the block a few times doing the selections, at least, right? I mean, good geez.
Yeah,
so
I had a
regardless if he makes F1s, he's been around tweeds a long time.
Sure.
And you don't get that. Weed wasn't invented with the internet. I think a lot of these guys don't even know what a dry season is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what that is, and the only reason you get that is because you've been around tweeds for so long, and it's just experience.
Yeah, and on top of that, like, well, the struggle is definitely not there anymore. That's for sure. We know that. Like, the struggle now is to, like, you know, wait a couple days for something to arrive in the mail or whatever. You're like, that's not a struggle. You know, you're like, we used to we'd drive 200 miles for an ounce of weed, and it would suck, and we'd buy it anyway just because we drove 200 miles.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
That was a kind of like...
Or you're in Van Nuys at a drive-thru or Pomona in some shady area buying a little tin bat of Mexican, arguing with these dudes out the window of your car or something, and you're excited if you got it.
Yeah,
patty cake or not, you're stoked.
There was a lot of sacrifices made, and a lot of you know, also times where you thought you were getting weed and you got shit. You know, you're like, what? That's not weed. That is not weed. One time I got like, I think it was like lichen soaked in Sherm, I think is what it was. Because it definitely worked. It definitely worked.
At least it did something.
It worked really, really good. And I was like, I went back and looked at it. I was like, that isn't even weed. Like, that's so obvious.
Yeah, that's, I got caught in Hawaii, the Elmers and oregano before.
Yeah.
Where they take oregano and make super awesome little skunk buds and double bag it and stuff and get real sneaky with it. And you get back to the house, you're like, oh, God, what is this?
I'm sure they dip it in meth or something because they can.
No, that's just double bagged because it reeks like oregano, and they go, oh, God, so good. And you get all sketchy, and you get back to your room, and your room just reeks like oregano, the worst thing ever, and you're like, oh, no.
But you smoke but you smoke it anyway. No, that's not.
No, you're sad. You're sad. You pout and cry.
I think most people, probably a good, huge percentage of people who go to Hawaii get ripped off for weed.
Yeah, if you're first time trip and you don't know anybody, you're probably going to get caught. But then it's weird. It's the Hawaiian karma. If you're a good guy, then you meet some local that feels bad for you because you got the oregano, the Elmers. That's what they call it, the Elmers. And then they hook you up with a little something real, and then you're stoked.
Real Elmers, like with real.
I saw a question real quickly. It said, "Ask Golden Coast about his campfire mail."
I was about to mention that actually.
Hey, what about your campfire mail? Tell us.
So what I did is I took a vintage Afghani that had a kind of a lime profile instead of the Nag Champa sweet Afghani #1 profile. Crossed that with the Chem D clone, I don't know, 2012-ish. And played with it a little bit, but some of the other guys were doing that stuff, so I tried to do stuff that wasn't stepping on people's toes and put those on the back burner. So over time I kept playing with them and got to F3 on that vintage Afghani 10D cross, and I've been using that lately, and everything comes out amazing.
Really?
And that's my favorite lately is this Chemfire. All day long it's my desert island weed.
And what else does it bring to the table on its own?
Well, what's odd as I showed JJ before is I got a Chem 4 pheno out of it.
Uh-huh.
Just that really limey pine, goldeny, blacky, oily one. And that's my fave out of one of the phenos. Then you either get Chem or OG. That's it. No other drift. No spices, no sweets, no purples, no funny business.
Gotcha.
So if you really like those profiles between Chem and OG, you're going to get it.
And how? And
I did get one. It was kind of hashy toned. It looked like Girl Scout cookies with no purple. It was the frostiest thing in the world, but it just had all hashy toned profiles to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I ditched that one and kept the OG pheno and then the Chem 4 pheno out of that.
And those are all through seats here now available, or are they already gone, or what's the deal with
Yeah, those are, which I was surprised, those are some of the only ones left at this moment, were some of my most favorite, best ones.
Well, there you go. So somebody who's not picked those up yet should grab those, especially because it sounds like those would be great for selecting males out if you know that they're going to be within those two.
Yeah, and that was the thing, is a couple of guys contacted me and said, the males we got out of these are amazing, can we use them? And I was like, yeah, no problem.
Right. Of course.
And that's the other thing is, like, if I release regular seeds, there's going to be males, and I can't be mad if people use them. That's my own fault if I don't want people to use those males.
You can be mad. It's just,
yeah, so I mean, some guys, you know, I get it. If they ask somebody not to do it and they do it anyways, that's kind of screwed up. But you can't get too mad about it. It is what it is. And if that keeps continuing, people kind of going against what some of these big guys say, it'll probably end up being like Amsterdam down the road, and it's all going to be feminized stuff, and everybody's going to be left with one chromosome to play with.
So
you don't want that.
So what's your deal with feminized? Tell us.
I like feminized.
Okay.
I think that's what got me into breeding. You can learn so much about the parental lineage of these plants when you self them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do it correctly, there's no funny business unless the genetics you're working with are already funny in the beginning. So I prefer to make femmes from females from regular crosses. So select my favorite female out of that regular cross, play with it a few times, see how it acts, and then I like to reverse those to either use as a cross or self.
And do you
some of these plants,
you reverse the males to check them out and see what's going on with that too?
No, the latest what I've been doing is I've been rosining the males.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives me little hints. You get the teeniest little dab in the world, but you get a little hint of the profile. And it's been helping quite a bit. But a lot of it is experience. Growing these plants a lot, you learn these plants.
So what are you rosining? Are you rosining the flowers? Or are you rosining? What are you rosining?
Yeah, take the pollen out and take that whole pile of all those little flowers and smashing them.
So, yeah, like I was gonna say, you're getting like
micro dab, but you get something.
Super clear micro dab. Is it pretty much what comes out of
it? Yeah.
And like
you got to have a decent amount of flowers because I mean, if you look through a loop, there are trikes all over the male flowers.
Yeah. I just wonder how.
So if you get enough of them and you get a good little squeeze at some good low temps.
And what's the most common? Is there like a certain range, or is it all over the place? Is it like spicy or lemony? Have you hit like real lemony?
Well, I've been going after these sour traits. So I look at the male, and I'm learning if you're getting something that flowers quick and it's got broad leaves, you're going away from the sour traits. So I made that mistake in the beginning, just like all the new guys. I wanted the fat leaf stuff, and I wanted quick stuff. So I started selecting all those and throwing all those slow, tall, skinny things away. And later I learned that's the profile I'm after usually when I'm working with the Chem OG stuff, is those real tall, lanky, slow suckers.
Mm-hmm.
And I select those going for those traits, and that's where I've been having the good luck with.
With the growth traits, with the lankiness, or with something else you mean?
Well, going after that profile, trying to keep that sour, real loud, putrid profile, it seems to drift when you lean towards the Afghanis or Afghanica or double WLD, whatever you want to call these things. So if you're going after that sour profile and you're working with those strains, it's better to look for the hybrid or the sativa type leaves in the males. And the lankier, tallier, the skinnier, and you're working with those tallier.
I'm just checking. It's very Trump-esque of you. The tallier plants.
Tallier.
Yes.
I'm learning a lot from Donnie. I'm glad he's our president.
I know. It doesn't even matter. You can say whatever you want now. It is tallier.
Oh, yeah.
What are you talking about?
Tallier. Yeah, that's the thing about Trump. It's Chicken Little. He could say whatever you want. No one looks up no more.
Right. So your male...
Again, that's for the OGs. Because, again, OGs are real lanky suckers, right?
Uh-huh.
If you look at them in the human world, they're super tall, skinny, lanky people.
Look kind of like you.
Kind of. And if that's the profile you're after,
is that what you're after?
You don't want to go after a dude like that.
No. Oh, man. You're just cutting yourself off right now. You're cutting yourself off right now by doing that. You shouldn't do that. You should be like, yeah, you really want the lanky kind of guy. Yeah, a little bit difficult a little bit.
I think
Chicks are smart. They know what big hands and big feet mean.
Oh, there you go.
Cock
yeah.
strong.
That's just a given.
There you go. There you go. Big hands and big feet. You're all good now. You're fine.
High
Big nose,
metabolism.
too.
Yes. Yeah, because that's pretty much what one of the main questions I get we all get when we're on these panels and stuff is about male selection, which is kind of like the mystery, the great mystery, and all of us just kind of, it is very interesting how it kind of parallels with humans though, because, you're saying how visually what you're looking for, and then when it comes to like flowering times, you're like, yeah, you want the one that flowers the latest, you know what I mean? And you're like, hell yeah, you do. You know what I mean? like every time you do that in a big
Well,
group.
if you look at that too, is cold environments are usually stockier people.
Mm-hmm.
Cold environments are usually Afghanica hash plant type plants.
Right.
So a warmer, hotter climate, tropical climate, the people are usually taller and skinnier, and that goes for the plants as well.
Uh-huh.
So if you're dealing with a hybrid or hybrid-leaning sativa, try to learn the origins of the strain where those genetics came from and try to replicate that in some way, right?
Oh, yeah, or they have a better, like, tolerance to heat, or they don't, or they, definitely want... Because that's the thing,
Yeah,
too.
all that stuff.
I think a lot of times
Yeah.
when people were growing cannabis indoors in the beginning, a lot of people had a misconception about the heat required, you know what I mean? So it was like... And people were, like, cooking them, you know what I mean? Just, like, running them really hot because that was what people thought. And then later, as you sort of realize, well, no, actually, especially in flower, you want that shit cooled down as much as possible so that you can get the plants to kind of work a little harder and create a little bit more. Otherwise, it gets loosen up and never want to tighten down because why would they?
All the answers are there because you look at all the old seed catalogs. They had a light bulb, a sun and a light bulb, right?
Uh-huh.
So they kind of fine-tuned a lot of these and say, hey, yeah, these are great strains, but they don't work indoors.
Yep.
That's why they got the sun only, Nowadays, I think everybody expects everything to go great indoors or outdoors.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure.
Hawaii is a tough place for genetics. Holy smokes.
Yeah, just because of
really spongy, really humid there, and the wide leaf plants don't like it.
Yeah, I always tell people to stay away from indicas over there, even though it sounds great in your mind and like a Hawaiian indica. Yes, pineapples and giganticness, and you're like, no, it's this mold and fucking nightmare compared to like.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's really bad. Again, it depends. Each the islands all have their own little microclimates, but if you're on the wrong part of the island, forget it. You can only grow certain things. And that's why you can kind of notice blueberry and white widow have always been long-time staple strains, and I feel that's probably from the tie in the blueberry and the Brazilian and the white widow.
Mm-hmm. Gives them that.
So they're below the Ecuador, the equator strains, and they can handle that spongy environment.
Sure. No, there's nothing worse than like an indica that doesn't perform properly because it's just there's nothing there. You know what I mean? You get nothing. Like sativa can kind of like pull together something usually, even if it's like
at least they're gonna have something. Once an indica gets any kind of rot, forget it. It's done.
It almost like invertly grows or something like that. The top's just kind of
it's like a petri dish.
Yeah,
it's like an open air petri dish.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and on top of that, like the tops, like for instance, like the Master Kush, the 93 Master Kush. I don't know if you've grown that. It's like there's almost like you have to kind of create the bud yourself. It's just leaf resin, sort of buds, but it never really turns into that beautiful.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
It's too much into
pine tar Kush or whatever. Just looks phenomenally beautiful, everything, but you're like, hey, where's the bud?
Yeah, there ain't much
Is
there.
Is there a bud in that leaf?
Yeah, it's a tiny bit of bud kind of like poking out, and it's just a lot of leaf, and you got to kind of carve it out, and there's a real woody, and there's a bunch of like negative reasons, but at the end of the day, it has a certain profile too. You're like, can't throw it away, can't do it. It's very, it's been around too long. Hits that mark.
Yeah, it's like I'm not a fan of cookies, but that doesn't mean it's not a bad strain. And I know that, like, the forum's tough because it's a real slow vegger. I don't know, I'm not familiar with all the cookies, but I know the forum is really slow vegger and doesn't yield that much at all.
Well, it's funny, I tried with one plant, like, last year to do a little cross with it, and I hit it with something that's like rock solid, never fucking herms ever, and guarantee like for sure. Like, and I just gave seeds to people and got the feedback like, yeah, 100% herms and just that. And I was like, in everything? And they're like, no, just the cookies cross. And I was like, well, that's why I don't normally do cookies cross. Like, ugh. You know, just like.
Well, one clue would be that's why there's 87,000 versions of cookies now.
For sure.
It's, you know, it helps people make new versions on its own.
Mm-hmm. Self-replicating bastard.
But that's the thing again about feminized seeds is cookies, the Chem family, OGs, all these Gorilla Glue, these are all bag seed feminized seeds. So these feminized strains can't be that bad.
No, there's definitely some winners in there, but the only problem with them is that particular thing, especially as a breeder, you know, you run into, like, back when I first brought Sour over to Amsterdam, and I brought Kush over to Amsterdam, like, Sour more than Kush. Like, Kush is a little more solid. Sour, not at all. Sour, like, hermed fucking right out of the gate, and, like, just...
The whole Chem family, those lower branches always make a pod.
Yeah, so you're like...
Something about the Chem family, the lower branches do it.
Which is...
But I think some of it is the sacrifice you got to deal with to have that magical plant that's like that for some reason.
Yeah, it's
part of the baggage. It's like Zen, right? It can't be perfect. There has to be a little something screwed up with it.
It's tough. It's a tough one, though, too, because it's like... you've seen that Chem weird branch thing where a whole branch goes male?
It does it on OG and Chem, I noticed. The SFE's done it on me, the Fire does it, and Chem.
Yeah.
So I sent those branches to Phylos. And I don't know, I haven't heard anything. I sent them in last February.
That's a while.
I sent a lot of stuff in last February.
Check on that. You should check on that. Yeah, I had recently with a SFE backcross that I was running, that I have some with me right now, actually, but super resinous and really nice, but it has that freak branch, but it doesn't have a freak herm branch. It just has a freak, like, Lester Grinspoon branch.
So here's a theory I have. What if a Chem did that, and they cloned it, and that's where the OG came from?
You mean from that weird, like, branch? Just that branch?
Yeah. So if you had a real hardy Chem, and it did that freak-out branch, it would kind of end up looking like that scraggly OG, right? In a way, right?
Yeah,
maybe
weird.
if you had a D or a 91 and it grew a scraggle branch, maybe it was like an OG type of thing. Maybe from that they got their super knot bag seed or something in that way.
Maybe.
Maybe that's why it's not totally replicable yet, because there's a lot of good breeders who've been working on these things for a long time.
Yeah.
The lead Genetix guy back in 2008, he's done all these crosses that everybody's all excited about today. He's already done all that stuff. He just had to take a vacation for, I think, 8 years or something.
We'd love it if a freak branch was the mother of the original OG, but I doubt it. I kind of think that guy, whoever...
Well, that would be cool to solve the riddle, but I think it would suck because he wouldn't be able to replicate it. And what happens with, I've studied on my own, is the plant's DNA gets damaged, and then the plant will try to repair that damage, and sometime it can't repair the DNA completely, so that's why you get the mutated branch.
Because I had it out of the gate with a seed recently, and it was interesting because that was by far the most resinous one, and by far had the most sort of original Chem, kind of Chemi, OG, whatever side of the fence kind of smell. And the freak branch didn't produce any male flowers, but it definitely was like, at first you were like, oh my god, what is going on? Like, what the fuck is going on here?
It's like, where's the resin? This thing's taken for... It almost looks to me like it grows like a hemp in the beginning. It grows like hemp or something.
But then this thing at the end just covered in resin and puffed out and did everything like the other ones did. But what I like about it is it's trackable, you know what I mean? It's one of those, like, shit, I could grow this thing and give somebody a clone of it, and they could tell me that I don't have it, and I look around in the room, I see freak branch.
It's unique. That's definitely a fingerprint that's unique to that cutting if you cloned it.
You're busted. It's my freak.
Busted.
That's my freak.
But and theory, maybe someone did clone a branch like that, and somehow it selfed itself. Maybe that's where it came from. Maybe people are looking in the wrong direction. Or maybe it did come from Weasel's D, like I've heard recently. I don't know if you've heard that.
What was that? What did you hear?
That the OGs are coming from Weasel's D, not the Kim family.
Well,
I'm not going to name names because to incriminate anybody if this is not totally accurate information, but this guy's closer to you than me.
got you. Well, I mean, I'm still pretty sure Alec was on point with what he was saying, and I kind of like...
No, I believe that Alec hit 100%.
And he
100%. Solid as can be.
And it didn't go very far in either direction. It's just, and it was really timing.
But the thing is Alec got that weed from somewhere, right? It came from somewhere.
Yeah, from some sort of...
Maybe it migrated down the coast.
A Vietnam vet guy who
Sure,
supposedly grew it.
Strawberry.
I mean, look at every weed thing there is. Even my dad has them. The more weirder these dudes are, the better the weed they have. Look at all the Cheech and Chong movies.
Exactly. We just said
the scientist in the pool, the uncle, dude, all the weird Vietnam strange dudes for some reason always had the best weed.
Hey, man.
Don't look at his face.
My dad has a bunch of those dudes, like these weird dudes that still live with their mom that like got stereos ripped apart and tons of seeds and weeds and plants everywhere, and you're like, what the heck?
Those are the guys.
Those are the guys.
Those are the guys.
Oh, man, he's got this weird birthmark on his neck, man. Don't look at it, okay?
Don't look at his neck, man.
Yeah, don't. He drools funny.
Whatever you do, don't look at his neck.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't look at his birthmark.
Exactly. So, have you been actively taking in a bunch of different other stuff, though, from other people and adding it into your mix, or you've been, like, kind of keeping your stuff?
Well, between our little L.A. crew, the group of dudes I know, we've always wanted this manic stuff, and recently we got our hands on the manic, so I've been able to play with that, and boy, it's really special.
It's called the manic.
Special. Yeah, they also went by the name The Hurt.
So it's obviously kind of strong.
Few people know of it, and like it's one of those like HP 13 where you're going to cause a lot of arguments, friendships, and drama because you're not supposed to have it type of thing.
So it's good weed.
Yeah, it's really good. It's closest to roadkill to the nose I've seen, but when you puff it, it's not roadkill. Huge bracts. In a way, kind of looks like OG, but it's bracky, but it stacks up way better, kind of like Afghani, and it's kind of got like a piney hash tone to it. But boy, does it yield, and is it beautiful. So I've been playing with that one, tossing that one around. It's called the Manic or the Hurt. Well, like Oregon Kid knows of it, and Josh D, a few of those guys, D-Real, and that whole Rainbow type of crew.
Tony Baloney's on it. He's like Manic, ? In the chat room.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's a cut that went around the rainbow. And at the time, it was like between $650 is up at that time. And it was a little bit pre-OG. And the OG, the Bubba showed up at the Rainbow, and then a couple months later, the OG showed up, and that's all that mattered anymore. From that point out in LA was OG.
Yeah. And the rest was history.
Well, it is what it is. There's proof in that pudding, right? I mean, it's got to be something to it.
Yeah, 100%. No, there's definitely no question that it's still top dog in this world. Not JJ top dog, but top dog in just the fucking pile. But I believe with all the people doing all the work that they're doing, and it's interesting. Like when I met when I met Swamp Donkey Seeds, young kid, 31, but really literally isolated because he's up in Alaska, working with what he's working with, and. But he understood. The whole thing is, like, when I walked into the hotel, this is kind of funny. I walked in the hotel, and he'd already been there, and they were actually down at the, I don't know, party from the CannaCon or whatever. But I thought they were still in the room, and, like, I got into the hotel, walked straight to the elevator, got up to the floor. Right as we get off the floor, fucking boom, smell weed. And then walked down the hallway, and it's like, as I get closer and closer to my door, it's like Now it smells really strong. Like if I was the cops, I'd be like, "This is the door. It's right behind this door, right here."
Yeah.
And then I open it up, and it was like kind of weird because the room didn't really smell a lot like weed. You know what I mean? It was like somehow it. So I was like, it's not here.
So you're like, oh, bummer.
So I'm like, then I call in, and I'm like, where are you guys at? I can smell you, but I can't find you. You know, and they were like, oh, we're already at the party. But then it was basically he had smoked and it just had lingered long enough that it moved into the hallway only. You know what I mean? But it was like he was from Alaska, only smoked weed, didn't smoke dabs, and you know that's great. But dabs are way easier in a hotel. You can get away with dabs all day long, but joints can. So when we left that place,
Linger.
so when we left, he left earlier than me. I had to sit around for like a good 2 hours after, and I just basically had nothing with me that could, and the place just reeked because we just been smoking bowls after bowl after joint after joint after bowl after. It was all weed, a little bit of dab. I didn't bring a rig, but it was like fuck this shit. So I just went and like opened all the shampoos and put them in against this thing and sudsed it up a little bit and turned on all the hot water and like smell get out of here. Yeah, it was funny. I don't know if we got a ticket yet. We'll see. I'll have to ask James if he got a $250 charge because I was just trying my hardest to not get him fucking charged. I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, this is all new stuff. Back in the old day, you just got the shower cap and put it over the smoke detector and you were home free. Now they got these, like Colorado, they got these detectors. You put the cap over them. They know you got a cap over them. They got 2 other detectors in the room. They come knock on your door right away. What's going on with the smoke detector?
Yeah, I haven't seen.
Like, wait a minute.
I haven't accounted for those yet. Those sound shitty.
Damn, son.
Yeah, it's some little, Comfort Inn in Denver.
Yeah,
3 in 1 room.
They have
the shower caps don't work.
Did you see that the guy invented?
Put dryer sheets in the AC vent compartment.
No.
Yeah, we used to take the dryer sheets and roll them up and stick them in the toilet paper roll.
Yeah, the old school.
Or when you fly home, like from Europe, you take a hit out of the sneaky took and blow it into the seat in front of you real hard.
I know, it's amazing. It's amazing how ballsy we all were back in the day, right? Like just. Fucking...
Oh, it was so awesome. We didn't know how good we had it. We thought it sucked, but now we look back, we're like, oh God, and it's just going to get worse.
Yeah. No.
But what can you do, right? You just got to roll with the punches.
Well, I mean, we'll always come up with a new way, right? Like, so now the shower caps.
Yeah.
Spring Hill Jack says burn some toast.
Burn some toast. That's good.
Burnt toast.
That's a good idea.
You're puffing on a plane now. Just a vapor pen. And hold that thing in like
he's not. I think he's
talking
about the hotel room. If you have a toaster, I actually had a toaster this last place too. That would have been the place to do it. But it's kind of hard to burn toast without a toast. You get your hairdryer and just keep fucking pounding on that bitch.
Curry works really good. I used to burn curry in the microwave on purpose to burn it really bad. Or chorizo or bacon. That'll coat that room like they ain't going to be able to have any idea what happened.
Yeah, just bomb it out with pork.
Just put a pile of curry and water in a bowl in the microwave for like 5 minutes and let it turn into lava.
Mm-hmm.
That is how you create a nuclear fission.
Yeah, sounds awesome. Tasty too. So,
or if you're into the Hispanic, you fire some chorizo.
What's your latest?
All your chorizo belong to us. You're fucked up, Pablo Escarol.
What is your latest project before we? I think because we're gonna probably have a call in pretty soon from Mike from Exotic. We'll be calling. So what's
last round?
What do you got? What do you got popping on?
Funny, so I didn't get that many seeds. So I went to the fridge and pulled out some stuff for James at seedsherenow.com and sent him some of the private stock.
Nice.
Some of the lemon crosses, and that's kind of what got me into the breeding was the lemon. Everybody was excited over my lemon forever until OG showed up. But even now it seems like it's time for lemon, so I have a shitload of lemon seeds in right now going after that to go play with that again.
Right, and that's the thing is like, isn't it funny how like flavors, kind of like also same with concentrates, like 2 years ago or even a year ago, had to be all shatter, you know what I mean? Shatter. And then now it's like no one wants shatter anymore because nobody who really smokes wants shatter. They want sap or something that's got a little more terps in it still. And we all know if it's real shatter, it's probably not got the terps that we were thinking it should have, So
Well, the turnaround's quicker nowadays with Mr. Internet, Mr. Google that knows everything.
Uh-huh.
So you got to be on it a lot quicker nowadays and see what's going on.
Do you do
Otherwise, you get past that. Back in the day, what was it like? Northern Lights or haze and Northern Lights, and then you had like purple skunks. Then you had your purple strains, and then the white strain showed up. Then they got purple, and then we've been sour forever. And now we went cookie berry crazy kind of for a little while in the glue, but it's similar profiles. I don't know where it's going next.
Onion.
I think concentrate strains and then flower strains. They're two different things. And if you could get both in one, that's awesome. But some of these things for concentrates are through the roof amazing, but flower-wise, you just put them in the trash.
Bacon.
What is...
It's this puff and air. I don't want to name any of these names, but when you come across them, you'll know.
What as far as concentrators go, are you making them yourself, or you got somebody you team up with, or what's the deal?
Well, since I've been around weed forever, I've always been making keef forever, like everybody. I started with the nylon, and then you find the silk screen shop and you get your screen, and then I played with the BHOs when it first came out, and all that funny thing, open blasting, and did all that. Then had buddies do it for me that had the right way to do it. Then the rosin thing came out, so I made my own plates and got my own press and made my own bags. And yeah, I make rosin here. I don't puff it that much, but it's fun making it. So I got my own little 10-ton press.
For me, it's not a commercially viable thing. I mean, you couldn't do it. I've seen it done. I mean, the kid started right here on the show. Now he's too big for the show. Now he's
yeah, I know. I did
the man.
I tried to help the kid out a lot. I guess I helped him pretty good because he doesn't want to be friends with nobody no more.
Yeah, you helped him too good. See, you fucked everything up.
Hey man, when people get girlfriends, it's a different story.
It's not
You
even a
gotta-
Oh yeah.
It's not a
fiance.
girlfriend, it's fiance, buddy. It's fiance.
Fiance.
It's
The power of the Pootenanny is amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah, well,
Number one boom boom. If you get number one boom boom, it's all over.
Yeah, that was it. He's done. But anyway, so you do.
So yeah, I like the concentrates. I like them real loud. I like sour stuff. I love making the rosin. My clue is my tip to everybody is flour 195-ish to 210, and just be patient and wait for it to come out. And when it slows down, it's done. And you need a good amount of pressure, at least 8 tons or more for flowers. Keef, you don't need a lot of pressure at all. 1,500, 2,000 at the max. Don't overload your bags. I like right around 160s. Rarely over 170. Under 160, it works, but your return isn't that good.
Yeah, and I think the biggest problem most people have is that they use too big of plates. They just try too hard.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, what are you doing? Like,
Definitely.
Where do you think that shit's going to go? Like, thinner, smaller plates that are more accurate, right?
Well, the thing I wanted to invent, and I know someone's going to be able to do it, would be like heated roller wheels with a big long strip, like an otter pop, right? Or a big, huge strip on a spool, and they'll get liquid nitrogen. They'll keef a bunch of fresh frozen. It'll vibrate into a container, load it into some kind of strip in a cold environment. That runs through heated roller wheels between parchment paper. That, or basically, I think everything's going to go distillate.
Well, yeah, the distillate for sure with CBD stuff, but with THC, it's kind of a little sloppy still and doesn't really go so great. And I think because it loses so much flavor in distillate. Distillate's like...
Well, that's the thing with the recreational markets. They won't care because there'll be all the new kids on the block.
I know. And
if anybody that knows anything, you're probably going to want to make their own fine-tuned rosin.
They want graham cracker flavor because they just barely got off the tit right now. They're like, I want graham cracker flavor because I smoke with my naked swag. And you're like, ugh.
Well, this is what Miley smokes or Kanye smokes this, so it's got to be good.
Yeah.
Right, or whatever.
What's a Kanye?
Jeez.
He likes the Urkel. No, actually, Kanye
He
does
likes
puff.
more than Urkel.
No, he does puff, actually, and he's got good taste. I know he's had some of my stuff. I don't know if you like it, but I know
Some
he's had
fava
some.
beans and a nice
He's a big fan of
You
the Adam
think
Dunn show. I
Kanye
heard.
would have good taste?
Yeah, well,
I heard he listens. I heard he listens to all the old. He's really into the organic episodes. Is what I heard. I heard that's what he likes to listen to.
Yeah, the thing with the rosin, though, I think the keef. You're taking a shortcut to your end goal.
Well, you have to. I mean, I think the only way to do it is either keef or bubble hash to begin with. Just because if you try to do flour, it's fine for like testing. Like, hey, let's see how this tastes. Okay, this is interesting. Now let's keef it and make some actual rosin. You know what I mean? Because it's the same as anything.
You don't have to use a million bags. You're not going to get the waxes and the sugars from the plant material. I mean, you're already there to the good stuff. And it's simple to do.
Exactly.
Especially with this liquid nitrogen stuff. This isn't rocket science. This stuff is easy to do. It's just buying the stuff to do it.
Right. Yeah, and having, exactly. Having the product. I mean, what I tell everybody from day one is with anything cannabis related, got to control your temperature. And you got to have just, like, never let it get above, if you can, like, 50 degrees. You know what I mean? Because it's just harder to work with. You know, everything's harder to work with.
Temps are everything. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I figured that out in my keef learning skills, probably from Rob Clark's book when I saw the little cartoon of the guy sitting on the cartoon and I'm sitting on ice cube shaking. I went, aha. I put my thing in the freezer and went, oh, my God. What have I been doing the whole time?
Right. Well, when I had Mila's first pollinator, I had also like a little fridge unit that was clear in the fridge.
Mm-hmm.
It was like an old Coca-Cola fridge or whatever, and so I could put it inside. And I could put like a temperature thing in there, and I could like what I did was put it to a timer that was outside of it, and so I'd put it in the fridge. Let it cool down again, watch the temperature go down. Once the temperature got as low as it would, then I turn it on, and I would do like a 30-second run for myself, and then I'd do the rest. And then I would like open it up, clean it out, then close it, do the same thing, crank it up so it would be cranking as hard as possible, then it would cool down, and then I'd turn it down again. Then I turned it on. You know, it's just like a whole process. And I remember like literally thinking about it back then. It was in '93. Like, it's getting mechanical now. It's not even like there's less finesse. You know what I mean? Now it's just me turning on the machine, and I turn on the machine. I unload the machine. And then it was like,
how to make it public domain. That's what I'm working on in my garage. I have a meat freezer with the hole drilled, and I have a keef tumbler ripped apart, and I'm going to mount it in the meat freezer.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, just like assembly line shit is what you got to think now, almost, because the reality is you're growing. Yeah. People finally are growing enough cannabis that it's not just scraps that they're going to use, and you never know what you're going to get. You're going to get between 8 and 12%. Now it's like everything.
I might as well put it out there. What's going to happen is they have those big conveyors that they freeze dry food product with. That's liquid nitrogen spraying that food product. Why wouldn't they be cutting down plants, laying it on the conveyor, running it through the machine into an automatic shaker? Mm-hmm. It's going to be done. It's right there. It's already on Alibaba, right? It's right under our noses, all over Alibaba. Freeze drying machines.
Yep.
Sprays liquid nitrogen all over your goods. You slow the belt down to make sure the material's frozen.
Yep.
Dumps into a huge shaker with stainless steel screens, because that's what you have to use for liquid nitrogen. It ruins the nylon, by the way.
Yeah, I would imagine.
It's so cold it breaks the nylon, so you got to use stainless.
Yeah. Plus, it's like aggressive. You're dropping shit onto it and stuff. So when you drop those things, they're all frozen. They shatter when they hit those screens, or?
Yeah, it's 300 below zero.
And so the screens.
So that's what's going on. So that way you can get fresh frozen material and get it to a keef form. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you'd never be able to do that. You have to have a somewhat dry material, that they're just too pliable.
So you think you're thinking large scale. Well, so you got to de-leaf it. I mean, you got to de-bud it. You can't just throw the whole plant. You're not going to chop up.
Well, you got your little workers trimming off the fan, so anything that's left is just sugar. Yeah. Anything with sugar goes through the machine.
Right.
And then maybe all the rest of the plant material gets thrown in to distill it. Because I have a feeling CBD ratio strains may not be as popular no more with distillate, because if you could just make any ratio you want act perfectly every time.
Mm-hmm. The
So
Sunny
why
D
would you
is
grow a 20-to-1 CBD strain when you can take this much pure THC and this much CBD, distill it, mix them together, and make your ratio perfectly?
Yeah, well, I mean, the only reason you would grow super high CBD strains is because you're allowed to, as long as it falls between 0.03, that's what you would do. But if it's like anything above that, yeah, you're right. Like, so if it's like
like all these canatonics and these Harley C's that have a reasonable amount of THC, which kicks them out of the hemp market. Like, I don't understand why you would waste the time and space down the road for this when they're going to rip it apart anyways.
Sure. Unless it's somehow you're going to keep whole plant medicine involved in this situation.
Yeah, exactly.
But
exactly.
But they're not.
I just think this is a glimpse of the 1849 gold rush. A little guy found it. Little bigger guys kind of took it over and thought they were the shit. And then the big boys come that have congressmen and senators in their pocket, and they change the laws to their favor. And just like the rest of capitalism America, that's what it'll be.
Yeah. Yeah, and on top
of
that,
it's just a part of evolution. It is what it is.
Except that this one is like moving all around the country, and instead of tearing up the land, they're revitalizing neighborhoods, but at the same time also consuming way too much power and like testing the
double-edged sword demigods, kind of
testing the whole system. You know what I mean? Which in the long run, though, I think like a lot of these towns that have like 20 major grows going on, that back in the day they had 10 major grows going on, but they were illegal and they were stealing power. Now they have 20 major grows that are actually paying for power, and it's testing their system, but that means they get an upgrade. When they get the upgrade, it's better for everybody, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like win-win in a way if people just look at it that way, but most people won't.
I guess it's all, no matter what situation this goes, it's always going to be that, right?
Uh-huh.
Back in the day, you stole power, but you probably got popped and had to pay for it, and it was way worse. But if you paid for your power, a lot of times you didn't get in trouble. And electric companies didn't give a shit because they're making a lot of money.
Yeah, man, it depends what county you're in, and like the.
Yeah.
I mean, because that was the problem. It's like it wouldn't be hard for them to go into a neighborhood where there's like 180 houses that are all pretty much the same. Then there's just one house or two houses. Out of those 180, there's 8 houses that are using like 600.
Yeah, I guess I'm familiar with Cali. That's why everybody ran to L.A. And they hit up the hills, and they got multi-level houses because it was DWP, and they didn't give a shit. But if you're in San Bernardino or Orange County or San Diego, you're really running a huge risk.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's the thing, is like it's always based on where you live, and that's
you do what you can do.
Yeah, if you take that risk and you know it, then then you do.
Yeah.
But those places probably have a little bit less savvy cops anyway. Just because
part of it is what's your end goal. If you're doing this to be cool and you're going to tell your buddies, you have no longevity. If you keep your mouth shut and don't talk and don't tell nobody, you can have longevity.
Well, yeah, and I mean
that's what it comes down to.
It did. I mean, like now it comes down to how many people you got on Instagram, and
how many times can you piss on that hydrant and peacock, and how many followers you have is how good you are.
Pretty much. That is almost more important these days than not quite.
And then, by the way, not to be a jerk to anybody, but my Instagram's private, and I kind of look at everybody I add because I don't need free bong sites and vapor pen people and people that don't post nothing and just want to spy and be jerks.
No, you don't.
So I make mine private, and it's not a personal thing. I just would rather know who these people are than just adding anybody for everybody's well-being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and it depends. Like some people, that's their only sort of vehicle. That's why they're, literally every day waking up and updating their shit and taking photos, boom, 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 go in the room. And it's like, that's fine. But I've said it before on other shows, like, I come from, like, a totally different sort of school of thought, same as you, where we, like, if we could have taken photos of the rooms we're sitting in back in the day, you'd be like, oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
And you thought about it, too, and I thought about it. We were all like, yeah, imagine if you could do that. But it didn't ever happen. You never, like, went and did it because you're like, that would be dumb. You know what I mean? Like, and then now it's, like, it's the opposite.
That was
like,
what I went to school with. I was a photographer, so I was traveling everywhere shooting action sports photos, and boy, was it tough. I did send in a lot of stuff to High Times until they published my last name, and I never sent them a photo ever again.
Yeah.
So that 92 to 96, boy, I had a lot of photos in those mags. But I can't tell anybody because I got my last name all over them.
Right. So, is there anybody else? How many people got involved in your company? Because I never really figured that out. Is it just, are you like literally doing all the breeding yourself, or you got
it's
some?
Pretty much me, and Pops was doing stuff. I'd set him up with stuff similar, basically what I'm doing, and go over there and do it, and he would babysit it and come out awesome. But he got cancer last year, so that shut all that down. So he's better now. It all went away, so I'm trying to get him something going again because he just loves doing it. That's his hobby. He has nothing to do, and he just loves it. 74, and he's in his little room all day long looking at his plants. He loves it.
Yeah, it's super helpful. I mean, for anybody who's, and this is before you ever knew that happened, what was going on, so, but definitely helps people in any kind of conditions to have an extra thing to play with, like a plant, which is totally responsive.
Yeah, it's the mental aspect to take your mind so you don't dwell on all that. A lot of times people get sick is from negative thoughts and bad emotions and being stressed out all the time. So if he can go in his little room and check out his plants all day, cool, awesome. So I'm in the process of trying to get him stuff built right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
but I like what I do, but it gets tough because I'm me. I'm not married. I don't have kids, so I'm taking out the trash, paying bills, cleaning the house, everything. Living and breeding, sleeping with these plants. I do all hand pollination. That's what later on today I'm plucking off male pods because I don't do the whole plant. I'll do branches. So everything is a lot more controlled. So I always got some little project going on.
Right. And as far as males, because actually it was funny, I was over at Joel's place today, and he has been popping a bunch of beans from stuff that I gave him and a bunch of other people's stuff, and kind of like a lot of us, he doesn't want to kill nothing. So I'm looking at, like, I don't know, probably how many males? He had like 25?
Over 30.
30 plus males that he let, they're all like 2 to 3 feet tall, so they're all definitely like getting there. And like, where are they? What's going on with these? But of course, 1 or 2 of them, I'm like, wow, because they're at that stage now too, where they're looking like you can kind of tell what's got some potential to it. But
males are tricky because you can clone a male, but once it goes in the flower, it's done. It's gonna die.
Yeah.
And pollen, after 6 months, it's a gamble.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, if it works, you dust the whole plant. How many seeds do you get? So you don't, you know what I mean? You don't want to count on getting a whole plant worth of seeds because it worked 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So the males are a tricky one, and that's what was good about my dad is I know I could trust him. I didn't have to worry about nothing. Whatever I took there, I knew it was safe, and he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
We've all tried that many a times with many a people we either just met or we're best buddies saying, please hold these, don't do these, or don't do this, and it never works out that way.
Yeah, right.
So it's just one of those things. I try to keep the special ones as long as I can. If not, it goes in the fridge, and I set the timer and know if that's that special, I have this amount of time to probably do something with that pollen, or else it is what it is.
So, yeah, I have the same.
Fortunately, I got 3 mini fridges full of seeds. Right. So I always have a little something different to go play with always.
For sure.
I've recently, in probably the last 5 years, the only other breeder seeds I use Money Mike's Eastbound Female out of some seeds of his I've grown and did a cross with. But otherwise, I've never used anybody else's seeds out of a seed pack for any of my stuff.
So help you God.
Well, when I first started out, I played with all the alien stuff and played with that stuff, but since then, never then. Probably not since 2011-ish, 12-ish.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, Money Mike stuff was great. So I told him, "Hey, do you mind?" He's like, "No, not at all." And I was like, "I can't help it. I have to. It's beautiful."
Dave, I have a question for you.
Sure.
What's your take on random seeds that pop up in plants? Just like one seed, not a cluster of seeds, just one random seed that pops up after taking genetic that's grown indoors per se, that's never really just popped these random seeds, and you take it outdoors and then it starts putting off these random seeds. What's your take on that?
Well, some of these plants will be more susceptible to stress than others. And stress would be a change in the growing environment. So possibly going from conditioned under one growing environment and taking it into another caused the plant to have a little bit of stress. Therefore, it made a male pod somewhere, a banana or a pod, and enough pollen got out to make a seed on itself. My assumption would be I bet everything in the world that seed grows female. And the seed would probably find, because usually the stress that caused that can be taken away once it gets back in a normal growing condition. And that's what's going on with the reversal, is you're stressing the plant. When a plant turns female, it sends copper. So by adding the silver to the plant, you're stressing the plant, and the silver bonds to the copper and blocks the receptor, and it makes the female turn male.
What about
you get your male pods, and how that was treated.
As far as like how much of the parent genetic is actually there in those seeds, and as far as
well, if it selfed itself, then it's going to be a lot very similar, if not the parent, the female that it's growing.
The reason why I'm asking is because I grew a sage that I got from Adam outdoors this year, and from that sage we hand harvested everything, so we were able to find all these little random seeds, not once again I want to stress, not clusters of seeds, just one seed.
Yeah, just random in a pod.
Right.
There's one, and no, those would probably be feminized seeds, and those would be really good seeds.
Well,
and that's, in theory, that's probably where like sourdove and all these type of things came from, was a similar situation.
Okay, word. Well, I have a male that I popped from that, and it's like since the time it was about 8 inches tall, it's been putting off this just really nasty onion smell that, from my understanding, we're working with Adam, is something he's been trying to isolate, and he came by.
Oh, the garlic and the onions is always one to find.
So, just my question ultimately is the viability of the genetic content and how much is actually there, and using it as a sire to, to produce really strong genetics.
Seeing it's probably indoors would be the toughest situation for a plant, and if it hasn't done it before, then if that was me, I wouldn't have any problem growing those seeds. And I would probably look forward to it because, well, these things are all like lottery tickets. You never know. Yeah, you could get a bunk one, but boy, you could get the magical ticket. Have that next whatever the heck these things are.
Of course, and that is the reality of where we're at right now in the cannabis game, as far as like people get all like uptight about the stability of this and that and the other, and I'm like, the instabilities are what actually progresses this sort of industry, because the fact that it is sour, OG, all of them were all fuck ups. I mean, like, it's like the classic. Same as a lot of us.
Thank God for cannabis to say, hey,
same as a bunch of
I never got pregnant, I need to self myself, because that's what's going on.
Yeah, of course.
Also, right?
Yeah.
Yes, bam, that's exactly what I was thinking, and that's
you overripen a plant, you don't get pods, you get bananas. And in theory, that's where I think most of these OGs and Cali came from after the fact of the original, is everybody liked to grow them to get them so foxtail-y, they overripened them and they made bananas. And those bananas made a couple seeds here and there, and that's the next one. Because Kyle Cushman got his cut out of the Valley, and I know Fletcher got a back seat out of that, and that was the Poison or whatever.
All right,
So that was happening.
We're missing it. Hold on a second. It's 4:20 on the West Coast. A bunch of people watching are all like, "Dude, shout out 4:20. What's up?" Mostly it's Obsolete and fucking James. So shout out to James and Obsolete for watching the show, actually listening. Great. I like sponsors who listen to the show. That's the worst part, is a bunch of them never listen, and then they finally listen, and they go like, "Oh, you should do this and that. You should have listened 100 times ago." James, on the other hand, he listens to every show, talks to every breeder.
They're just making sure that I'm not full of shit.
Yeah, he's checking you right now. He's watching every word you say.
There's been some rumors like the dude's dad isn't in the Brotherhood, and all the genetics are fake. So,
Swag.
you never know.
Swag. They're all swag. No, they're...
Yeah.
We definitely... Oh, here he comes. Hey, come here. Yeah.
I can't even get a beer?
No. You see, you get up, and that's when they call in. Right now, we got Mike calling in. Can he do... Hold on, he's freaking out. He's trying to get a beer. He can't do it. Add. Make sure you add. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, we got Mike. Are you flying right now, Mike? Are you flying?
Hi, can I be on the Adam Dunn show, please?
Yeah, you can.
What is the password?
You can, but are you flying right now? Is this safe?
No, I'm driving. It's all good.
Okay, cool. You're driving really. That's totally safe. Yeah, it's even better.
Yeah.
In hella traffic. I'm driving in hella traffic with crazies. Now, a plane would be way safer, right? Is that?
Yeah, actually, I was looking at my instructor, and I was like, "Hey, can I talk and fly?" And he's like, "Sure, why not?"
We can't talk. That'd be terrible.
Hope Harrison Ford wasn't your instructor.
No, I just wanted to make sure there was no no talking while flying laws like there are when you're driving a car. But yeah, there's no such thing.
You have to ask the person sitting next to you.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
They don't want you doing it. They don't want you to do it when you're going down the taxiway, though. That's a no-no.
Well, yeah, you can't have like your headgear and your phone out. That'd be kind of retarded, right? You're like, yeah, I'm just talking to my kid over here.
But dabs are okay when you're taxiing.
Oh yeah, of course.
All right, as long as someone's watching.
Mandatory on my runway.
Mandatory.
Uber drivers will find you dabs.
They will. Yeah, Uber flights.
I mean, that's just a rumor. I mean, I hear. I've never actually.
So welcome to the mix, Mr. Mike from Exotic. Who's now we have Dave still on here. We haven't let him go yet because he was about to give us a big you can find me. But then we realized it's just going to be all at Seeds Here Now anyway, right? So it's like Seeds Here Now, Seeds Here Now, Seeds Here Now. Did I mention Seeds Here Now? And that's about it, right?
Just in case you missed it, Seeds Here Now.
Oh, man.
And that's the only place at the moment.
It's only the go-to place to get seeds in any type of awesome genetics nowadays. Only seedsherenow.com.
Oh,
and the backbone of Seeds Here Now would be, of course, the breeders.
So we missed you the other day. I was hoping you were going to be on our panel, but apparently you were too busy in traffic, right? You're hanging out in Seattle traffic? Is that what happened?
I left my warehouse at about, I don't remember the time I left, but I know that by the time I got about 10 miles away, I was already sitting in traffic for an hour and a half, and I still had another hour in front of me, so I had to call it off.
Yeah, that sucks. Well,
and that's no bullshit, no excuse. That was real shit.
That's exactly when you needed your plane. You were like, fuck, I need my plane now. Because that was it.
It was sad, too, because the day before, I flew up and met with James, and, it took me all of 15 minutes.
I know. That's why I was thinking oh, well, there's no guarantee he's going to show up because he's going to want to show up. So just so our listeners out there know, because now no one's going to want to buy your seeds anymore because they're going to think you're rich. No, that's not true.
No.
You just bought bought a plane just like it was like someone buying a fucking Snickers bar, right? You were like, give me that plane. Yeah.
No, so let me clarify something.
I'm just kidding.
A friend of ours said the same thing. He's like, "Oh man, you got a plane, man. You did some badass." Now I said, "No,
baller.
Man.
No money
Actually,
for you."
people have this misconception about airplanes, man. Yeah, it's not as expensive as most people think. I bought my plane for $15,000.
That is crazy.
And most people's cars cost more money than my plane did.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, it's don't get me wrong, it's got some. I need to do some work to it. Maybe a little paint job and an engine down the road. But hey, as of right now, that thing flies like a beast. And yeah, I love it.
And you've only been flying for a short time, right? Not like crazy. You're not like a guy who just jumps in planes all the time, right?
No, I've been flying for about 6 months.
Okay, so I'm definitely not flying with you. Like, I'm definitely not taking off with you anywhere for a good. Let's see, a year. We'll go a year. No, I'm just kidding. I trust you. I would trust you.
I'm good. Don't worry, man. I'm actually all right. I'm not the best, but I'm pretty good.
Have you done? So you've done like how many hours have you put up so far?
I got about 75.
Okay. How many takeoff and landings is that included?
Oh, who knows, man? I mean, I think the last time we were talking about it was I was on like landing 200 or something.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So you're.
I'm way beyond what the power. See, normally when you're getting your license, you don't have to. Most people, when you get your license, you're way less hours than I have. But I've been waiting on my medical certificate, and you have to have that to have your private pilot's license. And since they've been taking forever to get me that, I've been able to sit here and log all these extra hours and takeoffs and landings that most people would normally get to do right out of the gate. So I actually have a lot more experience than a normal, person in my position would have.
Gotcha. Okay, so maybe I'd fly with you in 6 months. I'll give you 6 months, and then I'll go. Like, all right, let's do this shit. And it'll be fun. My uncle flies, so I've actually. But when you fly with your family, it's really scary because, of course, they're gonna fucking pull every trick in the book. You know what I mean? He basically like handed me the fucking stick, like go for it. Like right out of the gate. And I was just like, no. And he started playing with the rudder and started playing all the tricks and turned off the motor and just did every trick you could do to terrify somebody as a fucking young guy. Like, don't turn off the motor, please. He'd be like, yeah, I'm just shit,
that's not fun.
I can't turn it back on. It won't work. That's kind of bullshit.
Please point the plane up. I need to see the ground. That's what freaks me out when they point it up and all you see is blue the whole time.
Oh yeah, the good old stall.
So before we grind into all this stuff, I have to do one quick shout out for Seeds Here Now because James posted me a picture of 10 packs from Obsolete, which is a limited release of the Lorraine benefit auction of long bottom leaf times OJB, which is the orange. Hold on, where is it? What is it? Hold on. Orange Juice Bud from 1983, I guess. Wow. It was called Orange Juice Bus in Garberville back in the day. And he is... Well, that was his after... So he's watching to make sure we announce this. That's why... Fuck. Make sure. Fuck. Done deal. It's been done. That's a done deal. So those auctions are going to go on their Seedsaholic site, seedsaholic.com. Have you been checking that out? Because that thing's been kind of going out crazy, right? His auction site, James.
Oh yeah, it's a nut house over there.
Yeah, I heard about Captain James has a new auction site going.
Cuckoo Beans over there, going nuts. They're going nuts.
Cuckoobeans.com.
No, it is seedsaholics.com, and. There's definitely a way to spell it wrong and get to another site that looks really close, but you'll end up with some lima beans or some bullshit. So don't do that one. So
Papa Beans is in a nice Chianti.
So Mike,
Jensen seeds.
So in general, you've been just like we were saying earlier that it's like you're bored now because you're winning everything, right? You win everything. You tried. You don't even try and you're winning. It's not fair. What's going on? How does this all happen?
No, I stopped, man. I'm done. I'm done competing, man. I'm gonna let everyone else who was in the same position I was a couple years ago do it. It's no fun when you see the same guy winning all the time, and I've gotten my jollies off on it. It's great. I love it. I appreciate all the love I've gotten out there, but I'm just gonna continue and do what I'm doing. Making some of the fucking best cannabis out there. So.
Yeah, and
that's what I do.
Looking for those frosty males, right? You're looking for those frosty males.
Yeah, I mean, right now my project's a little bit different. I kind of turn the page a little bit, but he is still frosty. But I had to go with more of a people scream OG, and I love OG. I love gas. I love Kush, but I've kind of been slacking on doing a a nice OG project. So that's where I kind of put my time in the last few months, and that's what's going to be dropping here pretty soon.
Okay, nice to hear. And then, so have you been kind of searching, since now you sound all bored, you're flying around in your plane, and you're like, yeah, what the hell? Frosty Mails or, I got it all.
You got all these trophies in the back of my plane.
Yeah, you're like, you're shining trophy. You got your whole plane is full of trophies, right? It's just, we're trying to get an image. We're trying to get a mental image here. No, just kidding. Are you going to be doing Emerald Cup this year? Are you going to be up there for the in December? Not there's actually 2 Emerald Cups, by the way. I've been told.
Oh, so. This is news.
Yeah, it is actually. It's news. I heard.
News.
Word on the street is there is going to be a summer edition going on, but I'm talking about actually. Yeah, there you go. Boom. All right, it's official. It's official. No, I can't give the dates yet because I haven't been told if I'm allowed to, but it is happening. But let's say the December Cup, you're going to be doing that one?
Yeah, we did it last year. I slacked off 2 years ago and kicked myself in the ass not for doing it.
Okay.
And I did it this year, and I'm glad I did. But yeah, I'm back. You can count me in for any Emerald Cup event.
Okay, cool. So here we go. Now we're going to announce the Emerald Cup event of all events. Now that you're on the show, Dave's on the show. Dave is actually good because he'd be like contacting me to check me and make sure that I really said this because he's that kind of guy. But I'm going to do ADSI this year, not during 420 here in Denver because there's no other events happening and I don't want to get stuck in fucking Denver trying to hold this whole town together. I'll be like, no, it's not happening. It's not. I can't be the only kid on the block. So I'm going to delay it and do it in December for the big one in at Emerald Cup. But we're going to do a summer edition at the summer one, which I'll announce when they tell me I'm not allowed to announce that one, and that's going to be like a warm up for everybody. But so I want you to enter. That's why, because I want all of our. Basically, I want every Seeds Here Now breeder to enter so that we can kind of almost guarantee a win for Seeds Here Now. Almost. We can almost.
Man, I'm done entering, man. It's got to go for the young bucks, man.
Oh, come on, man. You got to get in there.
I'm done, man.
I got an idea.
I think he's.
Let's
I
for
think
the
that's.
fun of it,
I think you're
all
scared,
the
brother.
SeedsHereNow.com breeders enter as a friendly competition.
If you're scared, say you're scared.
Don't say you're scared.
If you're scared, say you're scared. It's all good.
No, Mike knows he's gonna win. That's the problem. That is the problem. He does win. It's not like he's not proven it. That's for sure. We do know that. So I'm not doubting you, but I would want you to enter. Just on the fact, don't enter the actual Emerald Cup. Forget the Emerald Cup. Do the Adam Dunn Invitational. That's way more important, dude. It's like way more important.
Dude.
James is gonna make you do it.
How about I just give you some ass to smoke, and you can tell me it's awesome, and that'll be my win.
Man,
Beans here now.
No, that won't work. How about you fly over and drop tons of weed on top of the crowd? How's that? There you go. That'll be cool. That's even better.
Well,
you're allowed to drop shit. You're allowed to drop stuff out of an airplane.
More of a
there you go. Now we have a subject. We have a subject. There you go. Dropping shit out of airplanes. Okay, so I've been wanting to do this for years because every time I get like a fucking bunch of B grades or stuff that I know is definitely going to be herm and like it gets knocked off and it's just a big bag of seeds there. I'm like, fuck, what do we do with these things? And I say to myself, I'm going to bring them around and put them in front of every fucking jail and post office and police station, but you never do. But a plane would be fun if you just like take 1 million seeds and go dump them across the whole state. You know what I mean? So can we do that? I'll do that with you. I'll go do that with you.
We can do seeds, yeah.
Can we talk about what happened earlier at the intersection?
What?
Can I mention that?
What?
Is that cool or is that like your private thing?
No, it doesn't matter. We'll talk about that later.
All right.
Talk about that later. But anyway, in general, like, yeah, I wanted to do seed bombs. You know, make those little cluster ones so they're not just because if you drop just the seeds, they'll never fucking hardly ever go. But if you drop those little cluster fuck, you know what I mean? And then we'll just GPS that shit and we'll make a map. It'll be great. It'll be the map. The map. 1 million seed map.
You see the old video from Europe where the dude did the 100 balloons with little seed clusters, seed clusters?
No, yeah. What was that? Recently or a long time ago?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Like maybe 10 years ago, some Euro dude got a bunch of Dutch seeds and put them in those little clusters and launched them by helium balloons.
Nice.
Launched like hundreds of them.
Yeah.
So they're landing all over Europe with little skunk onesies or cheese or something in them.
That's a good idea. Let's do that. All right, we'll do that too. But I'd rather do it in a plane. It'd be more fun. We can just drop. We know.
Yeah, I think you fly over the Emerald Cup, bomb the Emerald Cup with them.
Yeah, right. With like little real wet packs. No.
All right, the word is in. I guess Cuban says I should crush your Dunn Invitational Cup, so that's what I'm going to do. That's what Cuban says. Me and Cuban are going to crush the Adam Dunn Cup.
Oh, there we go. That's what I want to hear. Yeah. Perfect. All right. Yes. Let's crush it.
It's like a show and tell, though, but everybody picked that was the best one out of the show and tell.
And the cool part about it,
it's not like a competition.
No, it is.
It'll be the Cuban Exotic Crusher.
Yeah, the best part
of quality control, brother.
Looking at each other's stuff, going, "Wow, that shit's awesome! That shit's awesome! I really like that one."
The best part about it is that you don't know who's who. Obviously, if you shouldn't know, and you might figure it out at some point. If that's all you're there for, then it's not the whole point. But the reality is, if you, a couple times, like right out of the gate, people who everybody thought was going to just, they're going to come in and crush it, got kind of knocked out early, and it was like, like that got bad, like, and it wasn't because, and then nobody disagreed, it was just timing, you know what I mean, just like, fuck, because it's a knockout situation, so there is a chance you guys could get knocked out. I mean, I know you guys think you're going to win, but you could, some little kid could come in here, just like 20.
That's what happened to the Emerald Cup last year, man. Hey, best man win. That's all I said. I could give a shit if I lose in the first round, but I made the best man.
Exactly. No, well, good. Hopefully you guys are both in, because that'd be great. If you and Cuban were in, then that automatically brings our level up there, right there.
But don't let no half melt,
hacks
mushroom. Don't let any half melt, mushroom melt,
No, man. There has to be a point of reference. Like the old schoolers have to stay in there to keep the quality control intact.
Yeah, but the problem was that I think what a lot of people would now everyone gets all technical where they're like, whatever, everything tested and I want to do this. Reality is we're kind of doing it like if it was MMA or something like that, where it's just like, but the original MMA, not the new MMA. Like there was no, but like when it was the big fat guy versus the little guy, that's kind of what we're doing. So that's where it's kind of fun, because you get something that's like a 20-week ridiculous haze that's fucking phenomenal. It might get knocked out by some cookie bullshit just because that's what the people at the table want. You know what I mean? Yeah, like this. Like what? So yeah, it's weird.
Well, flavors are flavors, man. But a lot. You shouldn't have a problem with losing to a better product. That is the name of the game.
Yeah.
Better products should always win. But there's been a lot of examples, a lot of times in the last couple of years, where not in competitions specifically that I've competed in, but we've seen products that shouldn't be second places and third places winning first place, and that's crazy, man. And that's why I say don't let the half mil win.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Well, we leave it to the growers that enter, so it's like kind of up to them, So take all the blame off of us. We figured it all out. We figured out how to not be responsible in any way, shape, or form, but yet representing the whole entire thing.
It was Rob Carney, right?
Yeah, Rob's Chem, but it had powdered mildew on it somewhere along the way, so it was like, yeah. So so some people were like, yeah, of course, because it's fucking Chem, and it's right.
Whatever. Make a tea one the year before. It's fun.
What about the judge's choice?
Hey, but the best people and see some great weed.
This is the funny part about it, though, is like I would have not that I have anything against Nick and T because we're buddies, but I definitely would never have let him win, because in my mind I was like, oh my god, now it looks like people think like that guy won, he's the most famous guy. Now people don't think that they could win, you know what I mean? Whereas when Cuban won, the first time he won, I was there. I think I was like over here in Denver, right? That was like his first big win, and that was also like watching somebody who you could tell was watching Nicka's and techniques and other people doing water hash, and just understanding that it's like good handling and being quick, and just like this real. It's not that complicated. Just figure it out real quick. But in general, he came up pretty fast. Where now he's confident enough that he thinks he's going to win the damn Adam Dunn Show invitation. I don't think so. No, we'll see. I mean, that's huge. And I think this year we're going to do rosin as a second round thing. So if you fail in the flower category, you may win in the rosin category, which will all be done on the spot. So there you go.
Honorable
I've
mention
been
to
around a lot of tweeds, and the Adam Dunn contest I went to, the first one was, I never been to a place under one roof where I saw that much high quality weed ever before in my life.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Amsterdam, nowhere was that much high quality weed under one roof at one time. I don't think that's ever happened before.
Well, it was interesting, the first one, too, because it was also, a lot of guys who wouldn't normally, like, I managed to pull a few people out from under their rock, you know what I mean? And I was just like, fuck. And then when they got there, now, look at them now. Look at them now. Look at the AJs of the world.
Like the Michigan guys, the Jake guy. Holy smokes, his stuff was just amazing.
And look at AJ now. Like before that, he wouldn't even come on the barrel.
Cuban says, "LOL, this guy thinks I won his cup."
He didn't win my cup. No, I saw him win his cup, the first cup. I said.
We won with fifth, though, man. That's nobody's technique besides Cubans.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I saw him win his first cup here in Denver, is what I said. Not my cup. My cup was only 2 years ago.
You tripping, Cuban?
But in general, and dry sieve, is what I think is going to be the next reality check, because people understand that you can sit on that shit for fucking years, whereas water, anything else is just very limited. You know what I mean? Shit's already going. You know what I mean? So whereas you can just dry sift it, sit on some bags, and then work it later as in any way, shape, or form that you want to. I think that's the kind of next phase.
It's just tricky though, because it depends on the resin you're working with.
Yeah, it's very
oily plants. You don't have much luck. You're not going to get 99% heads out of a Kim family plant. No way.
Yeah. No, for sure.
An indica type plant with that dry resin, like Bubba's and Master Cushes and all that real dry resin stuff, that stuff's excellent to work with.
It's very plant specific, that's for sure. Like you can't make a plant just do that resin. It's kind of like the OGs suck like that. OGs are just like they're all.
Yeah, it's those southern hemisphere oily plants. That's like their oily sunscreen that's evolved on.
Yeah, and if you get the proper it's funny too, because indoor to outdoor is very different too, because outdoor plants. The heads tend to be a little bit bigger, just kind of like naturally out of the gate, and they fall off easier, and then just kind of all the above, unless it's like some crazy extreme sativa thing, which is all long.
Yeah. Sativa heads are smaller, indicas are bigger, outdoors always bigger heads, and indoors always smaller heads.
Yeah. As a rule, and then you get these freaks every so often that pop up, and you're like, whoa.
Just as like a baseline, not for everything, but across the board, the baseline.
Who's little frilly dog? That sounds like a Dave dog. That's a Dave dog?
No, I just pulled up to my destination.
Oh, okay. They're all excited because you're home?
Yeah, they're ready to rock. We got dogs and kids running out, so.
Oh, man.
I am going to have to run, gentlemen, but it was wonderful talking to you.
It's all right. No problem. We keep it short this time. We'll put you on the spot some other time and make it all long and detailed and grimy. But you're home. Have fun. We'll talk soon. And get ready to fly. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's do it in the next month or so. Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, let me know when you guys want to talk some more. I can come back on whenever, man. So give me a shout.
I will do. Thanks, Mike.
All right, guys.
Keep winning that shit. All right, good one.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yep.
That was Mike from Exotic. Thank God we had you, my friend, because, man, you're the whole show now. You're the one-man show.
Yikes.
How do you feel about that?
You've
already been on for like 2 hours. You've been on for like 2 hours almost. You're like, I got nothing for you, bro. I got nothing left.
Fuck.
No, it's okay. We can keep you on as long as you want, Dave. And then whenever you feel like you got to drop off, you just tell me, and we'll just ride it out.
Well, that's new news to me. The whole Emerald Cup deal. And
so nobody really.
There's a little deal going on. That's
okay, well here let's clarify all that since we don't have confusion and pandemonium on the thing. What's up? What's up, Joel?
Just to kill a little bit of time. You got a question in the chat room from Focal Grows. Adam, What's your chocolate chunk?
Chocolate chunk?
Yeah.
Okay,
Are you listening, Focal Grows? This is for you, buddy.
I guess. I'm sure he would be. If he just asked you, I hope he didn't just walk away from
It was 2 minutes ago.
2 minutes. He's like, forget it. That's internet timing. Chocolate chunk we did from two different, well, it was a cross obviously between two different strains. The first thing it was funny too because like a lot of people would think it was a chocolate tie or something like that, and it had nothing to do with a sort of predecessor that had any chocolate lines in it. There was no chocolate ties and none of these kind of other strains. The reason it was called chocolate chunk in the beginning was it was an Afghan 2 was one of so you had Afghan 1 and Afghan 2. Afghan 1 was the one that Sensi put out, which was kind of a little more pointier and smaller yield, and then Afghan 2 was a little bigger yield, a little deeper, but with less like deeper color green, less flavor though. So cross that one with the same Afghan that we used in the Quicksilver cross. If you look, it's funny too because I actually hadn't, because Quicksilver is a strain that we did back in the early 90s. That was a 45-day, between 45 and 52-day flower. So that was where we coined the name Quicksilver because it was quick.
Top 44 cross?
No, it was predecessor to that, but it was just super fast, and it was a male that we used in that cross, and it wasn't the fast part of the thing because the male wasn't about being fast in the chocolate chunk. It was more about very not fucking up the flavor too much and having something that was just like finish off and kind of had the chalky Afghan flavor, which is what I liked. That was kind of like my focus. But in the end, I mean, it was kind of like in that indiscernible flavor zone where I could say chocolate, you could say something else, and we were like, eh. But it was just a hashy sort of vibed plant, but still like lime green, and that's what I liked about it too, is it had that easy to lay on palette. You know what I mean? You could throw something onto chocolate chunk and it would always work. So it was kind of like, it was actually more of a breeding project than a particular strain at that time, but we entered it in the cup, did pretty well. Didn't win anything major, but it just got a lot of they took photos of it and used it a lot as a sort of, because it was a super picturesque as a plant also. But yeah, it was good. It's a good plant. It's a great plant. So it's basically two different kinds of Afghani. One of them was that Afghan 2. And then that same Afghan that I used in Quicksilver. And that one we actually called Alf back in the day, just because it was like, there's the fucking, it was the most Afghani thing I had. It was just like, blah, it was like, blah. And it was all kind of short, floppy, pretty funny plant. But rubbery too, you know what I mean? It had that like rubbery Afghan quality too. Alf.
You ever notice how like some of the really good hash in Europe, because I knew a lot of dudes from Denmark, and they would get some crazy hash from Christina, had like a diesely chemical smell.
Uh-huh.
The real sticky one would be like a king-size candy bar with a saran wrap around it, and your fingers would always get sticky like it was almost rosin.
Right.
But it had this great gassy profile. And I think it was like the really good Maroc.
Well,
we don't find that profile in our weeds today.
Lebanese hash had this kind of like gray, that silver gray quality. You know, like how good weed has that like silver.
Yeah, I call it snail tracks.
Silver diamondy vibe going on. It's resiny, but it's also like it's tiny, like small resin glands next to the bigger ones, and that just kind of gives a kind of diamond-esque to it. The hash that they created was like a super light, wasn't tan,